I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. Hi.
We were building the suspense. Were you in suspense? I hope so.
I was dying inside, so hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Hello, friends. Ruel Gaviola here, joined by Chris George. You are watching the pre-show for the R&R&R Show. Chris, how
Woo!
the heck are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic, Ruel. You know what? Like we were talking a little bit before this started. I know it's been a hectic sort of couple of weeks for the two of us,
Yeah.
and and I sincerely am just so excited to be able to chill with you and chill with all the people in chat and just talk about board games and only have this be the thing that we're doing right now and can
Agreed.
focus our attention on.
Agreed.
It's just lovely. So it's honestly like a lovely break, and I hope everybody in chat is doing well and having a
Yes.
fantastic day. I'm just filled with love for the board gaming community. That's what I am right now.
That is the perfect way to start this off. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I am also in that mindset of let's just hang out and chill and enjoy the
Yeah.
games right now because you and I are both we're burning the candle at both ends right now.
Yep.
How about a quick update, Chris? You're in Nova Scotia right now, um,
Yeah.
doing acting and all kinds of shows. I believe you launched a show recently.
Yeah, 2 days ago we had our opening night of Pinocchio,
Nice.
the family friendly musical of Pinocchio. I play a big old strong clam. That's why I'm trying to grow out my mustache. You know, like the
Oh,
strong men,
I love
like
it.
the curly
Yeah.
mustache. So I got a big like barbell that I'm like, oh, I'm strong clam. It makes me happy as a me. Ha ha ha. Like that sort of stuff.
That's
So
great.
I'm trying to do that, yeah. And then I play also like one of the villains, the Donkey Master, and then I have I think my favorite part though is being the voice of the whale. A big old whale comes on stage in the park, and I get to voice it and be
Very
crying about
cool.
it, etc. Yeah.
I've always wanted to do
So
that strongman
yeah.
mustache. How do you do it? Like, I mean, do you have to use any kind of like oil or something to
I've just bought some mustache wax just
mustache
recently.
wax?
I ordered it off Amazon. I looked it up because my buddy Zach has who's often on room and board with me. He runs like I've got him to do like an RPG sort of thing on my channel, and because he's my go-to RPG guy. But he
Mm,
has like a glorious mustache. It's so good. His length is so long, and I think he told me that like he just uses like a wax or whatever and just puts it on the end and then curls it,
okay,
so then that's how you can stick it up. For me,
nice.
this side of my face naturally kind of it can grow in that direction, and then this
Yeah.
side of my face can't. And so I'm constantly you'll see me playing this entire uh whole show. I'll just be twiddling fidgeting with my mustache. It's a built who needs fidget spinners when you can grow one on your face, right?
Yes, beards.
I'm always looking for the most affordable option.
Yeah,
So I figured just put one on me.
the facial hair, the original fidget spinners, folks. You heard it here
Exactly,
first.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, want to say hi to everyone in chat. Thank you all for hanging out. We got Feldfan, T Vivd, Corthane. I was gonna say room board reviews, but yes, you are here. iTower Prime 01, the huge. Oh, thank you, friend. Also, folks, be sure to click. Let me see. Is this link working?
Howdy, Spitzka.
Hi,
Thanks to Otter
Spiska.
Mama for following.
Otter Mama, OCS1 Spectre, appreciate it. They say beard oil is for care, beard wax is for shaping. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
thank you for that. Yeah, I've never used either. Well, I do have beard oil. That's the one just to keep the beard
yeah,
soft and clean. But I haven't not had
nice.
done the beard wax thing yet.
I'll let you know how it goes. We'll
Thank you.
see.
Friends, we get to hang out with y'all before we actually record the show. Today we've got a fantastic show. We've got the top 15 travel games, and this is honor of Chris because you are on travel, my friend. So we had
It's
to talk
true.
about travel
I
games.
was I was really excited about this topic
Yeah,
actually because I'm like, hey, I think about that all the time and think about and regret all my choices of things that I brought and wish I brought other things, but we can only do our best.
yeah. I feel like
Um,
that's with any games that you pick. At least for me, like I'll pick games to travel with, and we'll get on the road, and sure enough, I'll think, oh, I should have brought this or that
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
this. And it's just
100%.
inevitable. Um, but yeah, super excited about this. I keep thinking anytime I see you twirl it, I think you're going into evil,
I'm
mode
yeah,
here,
yeah,
Doctor
evil,
Evil.
evil. Waluigi,
Yes,
whatever it is.
Waluigi.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're gonna have to lead this show, Ruel. I think I'm just gonna be piping in with oh no.
Folks, you can get you can have this for the next 2 hours, folks. I'm okay with it.
I will not force you to sit through that for the next 2 hours, folks.
Oh my gosh. We've got a comment from Dancing Desi in 99. Thank you. Oh, I don't know why it's not showing up. Oh, you know what? Because feature chat always freaks out on me. But anyways, they have a comment says, I'm excited about this topic too. I'm traveling soon. Need to figure out which games to bring. Yeah, it is that
We
time
got you
of year.
covered.
You know, I'm going to try to fix this on the fly. Chris, talk to us some more about anything in life while I try to fix this stuff on the fly.
Okay, well, I was going to ask you about your life, Ruel, but I'll let you fix it on the fly, and I'll vamp for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, actually, what I want to know in the chat is like, what are the sort of games that you've been playing and you've been enjoying recently? Like, what's been really great is that every time I go on a theater contract, I bring a bunch of games, and this time there are a ton of people who actually know board games. And in fact, one of the ones on the upcoming list will be, I'll probably say this spiel again when we're recording it for YouTube, but one of the people actually introduced me to this game. I'd never played it yet. I'd known about it, but I hadn't ever played it before, and I thought immediately, "Oh man, this is such a good travel game." Ooh, I'm getting hyped to talk about it, but I won't talk about that. But I was really excited that like I talked to the guy playing Romeo, because we're doing Romeo and Juliet as well, and we were talking about board games, and so he's like, "Yeah, I like board games," and you know when you suss out somebody if they really like board games or not, like how entrenched they are in the hobby. And I said, okay, what's your favorite game? He asked me what my favorite game was, and I was like, well, it's Rising Sun. You probably haven't heard of it. He said, oh, I have, and I went, okay, I'm listening. What's your favorite game? And he was like, oh, I really love Inish. And I was like, bam, that's all I need to know. Give it to me, baby. I'm so excited. And so yeah, there are quite a few people who knew like a lot about hobby board gaming as well.
Oh, that's great. I can just I picture the scene right now. It's like, oh, did we just become best friends? Talking to you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so there's a ton of really people who are really interested also in going down the board gaming rabbit hole as well. So I'm excited for when it's a repertory theater company. So we just opened Pinocchio, and we have 2 weeks of rehearsing Romeo and Juliet during the day, and then having a couple hours off, and then doing Pinocchio at night in the park. If you're in Halifax, Nova Scotia, come see us. It's free. Bring your own chair, and it's free. It's pay what you can. I mean, so pay what you can. But if what you can is nothing, well, come see us. Yeah, so it's they're long days. But when both shows open, then I'll have my days, and then I've already recruited all of the members of the cast. I'm like, listen, I have a bunch of games I need to review, and I have not been playing them. So we are going to get together every day.
I love it.
So
that is great. I love that, you've already recruited your little board game crew out there.
You got to. You put out your little tethers, right?
Yeah. You find your people, when you're out there. We've got, let's see, comments
says, Spitzka says, just lost badly to my sibling in both Anno 1800 and the new Isle of Trains badly. I just pdude Anno 1800 like a couple months ago for the first time. That game was so good.
Yeah, right? Oh, so good.
I love it.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Really good.
That's a Martin Wallace game, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, now I'm mixing it up. No, that's the one where there's like a ton of like little tiles out that you can
take. A ton of little tiles, a ton of little resources, and you're constantly putting things back and forth, and you can use your workers to like you'll upgrade them over the course. They're just cubes, like red cube or blue cube, and you need a specific type to activate each one. They're not like it's not a hierarchy. It is kind of a hierarchy, but you can't use them. They're not multi-use workers.
Right.
But what's fascinating, this was when I was talking because I did an interview with Martin Wallace for World Series Board Gaming. We've been doing like an interview series, and because he did Brass as well, which is in the competition. But when I was talking to him about it, he said that Anno 1800 was one of the quickest designs he's ever done. He got somebody to play the video game and tell him all he needed to know about it. He's like, he paid his friend. He's like, play this video game, figure out everything there is to know. And they had a meeting. And then he's like, yeah, okay. well, there's too many resources to have like physical resource cubes, so we'll do it this way. And he said like 90% of the game worked like
Oh my
right
gosh.
off the
That's
get,
cool.
and it was like 3 months from like thought to basically final product, which is
Whoa.
so mind blowing to me after playing that game and seeing like how but it's so simple, right? Like it's just such a simple concept. You want to get rid of all your cards in your hand,
Hmm.
but every time you get a new worker, you get another card, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to sell them. And so it's how these things steamroll and chain together, and chaining your resources and growing your tableau of things that you have access to.
Yeah.
It's so simple in its essence, but there's just so many moving parts that make it really, really exciting.
Yeah. I think
Isle of
that's
Trains I didn't play, but I
yeah.
thought it looked cool too.
Island Trains is I played the original. I love that
Oh,
game.
did you?
Yeah, it was
Nice.
it's a card game version of like an 18xx game. Very streamlined, of
Mm,
course, and it's not as robust. But I thought it was so clever. But just going back to Anno 1800, you're right
mhm.
about the whole. It's super simple, as far
Yeah.
as your turn and everything. But boy, the depth of it, all those moving parts, like, oh wow, I want to do this, this, and this, and you're
Mhm.
trying to chain everything. Oh, it's excellent, really good, great
So
game.
many options.
Yeah,
And then I just love that you can use somebody else's too. So like
yeah,
you're never really boxed in. And so like the pace of the game I find moves really well.
uh-huh,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's so
agreed.
fun. Like I just had, yeah, I only played it once, but I had such a good time with it
Nice.
when I played it.
Let's see what else. Everyone, Jojo,
Thane was saying, oh yeah, yeah,
Jojo
go
asks,
with
"Hi
JoJo
all. Hope
first.
there will be some great solo recommendations for travel. I know on my list there may be one or two games that have solo options, and I don't know. That's
And
all I'm gonna
on
say. No
my
spoilers yet.
list, I don't know because
Okay.
I don't play a lot of solo, but I'm going to look it up
Okay.
off to the side here, and then
Awesome.
I'm going to pretend like I knew many, many moons before. And I would say, "Oh yeah, solo. Oof. If you're a solo player, you love this." I know one does have a solo mode.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, my number one has a solo mode. So
Ooh.
yeah,
There you go, folks. You have to stick around for that. Again, we are not doing it officially live yet. We're gonna go start a little bit. We're doing the pre-show. We record
yeah,
this live here on Twitch and port it over to YouTube, and you are part of the studio audience, folks. So thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about what you all have been playing lately.
yeah.
Danny Cha plays says I have start traveling again. If I start traveling again, Rolling Realms, For Northwood, and A Gentle Rain, all solo friendly. I
Mm,
love Rolling Realms, folks.
yep.
Richard and I played a game of it here on the channel. You can check out the YouTube channel for that. I've not heard of For Northwood. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, for Northwood is it's a card game. I know that. I think it won like a smaller card game design contest. I can picture the cover. It's got this little lion on it. And so I think I want to say it's trick taking,
Mm-hmm.
but I might not be sure. I know there's different values and you have to clear different steps.
Okay.
Let us know, Danny Child, like how close I am to that. I can picture the cover vividly, and I know I looked into it. I remember when it was on GameFound. I thought it looked good,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it is. I thought it was solo only. That's what I thought
Oh.
it was.
Okay.
But if it's got a multiplayer, because I thought I somehow recall thinking that it was like a solo only trick taking.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna bug me. I'm
Okay.
just gonna look it
Yeah.
up
While you look that up,
on my end
Danny
as
also
well.
talks about A Gentle Rain, which I've heard nothing but good things about A Gentle Rain. I've really wanted this game. I missed out on it. It's been out of print for a couple of years now, but from what I understand, it's coming back into print, and that is a solo game. A Gentle Rain, it lives up to the name. Apparently, it's a really chill, relaxed
Mm.
solo experience. So I want to check that out. So did you check out For Northwood? What did?
Yeah, I looked at it briefly, and then also Danny Chow just said, "I'm right that it is a solo trick taking game." Yeah,
Oh,
that's why it stuck out in my head as like a
solo.
really unique thing, right?
Yeah,
Because you don't really see that,
solo
and
trick
that's why I
taking
thought
game.
it looked really interesting as
Yeah,
well.
I,
That's cool that it's been getting plays and it's
I'm
been enjoyed.
yeah, I am super curious now. A solo
Yeah,
trick taking game. Never heard of anything like that.
yeah.
Zen for one. Hi. Here's a solo option for travel. Just setting up a first game of Maquis. Oh, I think that's the one Richard has been talking about. I have not played that game.
Mm.
Is it pronounced Maquis? Is that how it is?
Yeah, I think McKee.
Yeah. Solo
That's
worker
how I'd say
placement game. Oh, you had me right there. Yeah, I'm down with that.
it.
Okay, cool.
Also solo friendly. Corthane said up above too. Skulls of Sedlic and Fleet the Dice game are big winners this month. I don't know if
Oh,
Fleet the Dice game is solo. I think it is. I
yeah,
know Skulls of Sedlic is because Button Shy. They're generally all are right.
yeah. Heard good things
I
about
played
that.
Skulls of Sedlic is like the only Button Shy game that I've played.
Oh,
Really.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Have you
Yeah.
You haven't played Sprawlopolis?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I've
Oh,
just
okay.
like
Yeah.
I've looked at it a ton. I feel like I've played it by the amount that like I've watched
Yeah.
it. You know.
TVD says they've been hooked on Mille Fiori lately.
Nice.
It's killing me. I've had that game for months now. It's staring at me across the room here saying play me, and I have not been able to play it yet. So
Oh, you haven't played it, but Richard mentioned it in a previous one
yeah,
because he wasn't that happy with the two-player mode, right?
right.
I
Which
think that was his
yeah,
complaint. That's often his like critique is, oh, I
yeah,
think this looks really cool. I wish I could get it to the table with more players, but
yep,
since he primarily plays with Jen,
yeah,
that the
yeah,
two players got to be like the cream of the crop, right?
yeah,
The mode in it for him to
right.
be
And
really that interested.
yeah, and with Mila Fiore, I know it's a Knizia game, so of course we're I'm really hyped about it. But I
Mhm.
know that some of his Knizia's like multiplayer games, they don't always translate well to the two-player experience. Now his like two-player specific games like Lost Cities and Schottentotten, those are fantastic. But the other ones,
Mm.
sometimes especially something obviously like like Raw, or not even Raw's good at two players. I think the auction games,
Yeah,
you want more
I
players.
do Raw.
Yeah, I
That
like
too.
Raw too.
I would want more. I would want at least three for Raw though.
Agreed.
Personally, like I
Agreed.
wouldn't gravitate towards it if it's a two-player. I'm like I'm gonna play something else.
Totally. Let's see. What else have people been playing there? Oh. Okay. People agree
Yep,
Sprawlopolis
Sprawlopolis.
is really damn good.
You see that comment from Free Thought? I'll read through the other comments while you,
Okay, yeah.
if you want to do that.
Yeah, why don't we? I'll put up the comment right here. Free Thought says, "Hey, just want to point out, you guys have a YouTube video up directing people to the stream,
Oh yeah.
but the link is broken. You need
Yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
So if you want to fix that, and then
okay.
I'll look at the other ones.
Thank you for that. Okay.
I do like saying that. Imaginaric says any game that is a travel game if you try hard enough. I agree. I've tried very hard to travel with a bunch of games.
That's so true. Love
to Nova Scotia. I'm like, I got to bring it. Just catching up on some other ones. Oh, Jojo said played a bit of Caverna lately, but no excited. Oh, now I'm assuming it was now excited to get La Granja back to the table. I haven't played La Granja. I think I would enjoy it a lot.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
I don't remember if I
It would
have
be
or not.
something that I would like. Caverna is great though. Like I want to play Caverna a little bit more. Like I always gravitate towards Agricola. We've talked about this in a few past streams as well, right? I always tend to gravitate towards Agricola
Yeah.
because I really like the card play. I like how the cards are unique to you and kind of streamline your own process rather than them all being represented in buildings that everybody has access to. I don't know. I like that little personal touch. I like asymmetric abilities personally.
Right.
Vault Boy has been saying I've been playing Vampire the Masquerade chapters lately. I'm about 20 plays into that. That's huge.
Nice.
That's a lot of plays, Vault Boy. That's awesome. I'm thrilled that you've been enjoying that. And this is great. Vault Boy showing the exemplary way to play your campaign games, which is to play them.
Oh yeah, folks. By the way, thank you again for pointing out the YouTube link. It should be fixed now. I just updated that. But yeah, campaign games. Oh man, I've got one that's been sitting. Gosh, what? Oh, Mechs versus Minions. I have not finished that one, and I love playing it. I think I got through 4 games of it, and the guy, like one of my friends that was playing it with me, he decided he didn't like it anymore, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to force anyone to play the games, but now after that, it was like it just sort of fizzled out, and I'm like,
yeah, you lost your guy.
Yeah,
you lost your person.
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna reset everything and start from the beginning, and maybe I could talk to Michelle. Or actually, could you solo Mechs versus Minions?
I don't know. I've honestly never played it, but I know it's like one of the best value games out there because you get so much content. If it still is, I don't know if they've upped the price on it. I think honestly, like by all accounts, they should up the price based upon what you get in it. That's what I've heard from people.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever advocated for anything to be higher in price ever in my life because I'm so cheap, but I have heard that Mechs versus Minions, you do get a lot of like really good quality stuff.
It is. I remember when it came out, I bought it the day it came out. Like we all pretty much crashed their website when it was launched, but it was $75 US, no shipping. It was including the price, And seriously,
That's just, oh man,
it's they
it's like
lost.
you're
Yeah, they lost a
it's
ton of
like,
money doing it.
oh,
Yeah, and this big box, it's bigger than my Twilight Imperium box, and it's got like I think 100 minis in it, and the minis, Chris, were pre washed. It just
it's
it was like,
exceptional.
yeah, it should have been honestly US probably like 150, 175 at the time, and
Yeah.
they can easily put it at 199 US right now, and it's worth it. But we
Wow.
got 75 was just so ridiculous. But of course they make all that money off the video game. They don't need any board game money.
Yeah, they're doing their part to give back to the community, right? That's
Yeah, right.
keep taking the loss, Mechs versus Minions.
Yeah,
Keep
I'm all
making it
for
happen.
it.
We'll sing your praises till the day ends.
Totally. Um. Oh, Seabass says Tussie Mussy is another great button shy game you can bring anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
Elizabeth Hargrave game, a wonderful little. I think that's the I split you choose mechanism where you try to make
I
flowers or
love
like
that.
a bouquet. Yeah, wonderful little game.
I saw a really cool game in this last every Monday I put out a show on Room and Board about like crowdfunding, what's leaving, and there's this game called Ocean Pods, 18 card game, but it had the I cut you choose mechanic in it. But what I really liked is that the twist was that you put one face up and one face down, and so you're just like
Yes.
doing set collection,
Yeah.
but just the potential of what are you seeing versus what might be hidden.
Yes.
Like, am I trying to force you? Am I dangling this carrot because I've got an even better carrot down in the box?
Yeah,
Like,
love
that
it.
concept to me just seems so fun.
It is. Yeah. I wonder I have a feeling that Tussie Mussy uses something like that. Oh, it's been a while since I
Oh
played.
yeah. Yeah, because I haven't. I know it's Elizabeth Hargrave, but
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how it plays. I'm really not like I really enjoy the concept of button shy games, and I love like what they have to offer.
Mhm.
But I just haven't really delved into a lot of them. Really, I just haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't been in my circles. You know what I mean? And then I also living in Canada, like shipping is also a little bit more expensive, and then
Yeah.
so then the cost per game gets a bit like
Yeah.
a bit skewed from how much I want to pay for a little wallet game, and
Right.
and I also don't play that much solo as well. So like all the things that where I recognize it hits really well with a ton of people, just doesn't provide me that much experience to like delve into them.
Oh, totally fair. Yeah.
I have no doubt that we will see some button shy games on the travel list. I have absolutely no doubt.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I just might as well put all button shy games as my number one.
Right.
Right.
I was gonna say, hey folks, if you're watching right now, you're new to the channel, you can subscribe for free if you have an Amazon Prime account. There's the big Amazon Prime Day coming up, I believe tomorrow and the next day. So you get free subscriptions on Twitch, and you can subscribe here. Not only do you get one of the cool little stream avatars that's running around, and they're going to fight in a little bit, you also get discounts on Rahdo merch as well. So come on in, subscribe using Amazon. It's free, and we appreciate your support. Imagine Eric says, yes, Tussie Mussy is the one face down, face up.
Oh, amazing.
And
amazing. That makes me very excited.
Yes. Yeah. And he also says, or they also say, Chris, you should be able to print and play the button shy games, save on shipping. There you go.
I know. And honestly, this has been like a request of a video that I need to do. I just haven't had time to look into it. Is like, I really love the concept of print and play games, but I do not have the systems in place to print them out in a way that I would enjoy playing with them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm super cheap, and yet I don't want to shuffle paper. and so many games that print and play are so card based, right?
Yeah.
So finding out like a local print shop that would print out the cards and how to format all that, and like get them out and showing the way to do it, I think would be an interesting thing for me to learn personally, and like take my cheapness savings level, even higher to even greater heights.
No, I think it'd be a great video. I think you should totally do it. Like, so one hint that I could share with you right now, because I don't do a lot of print and play, but the ones I've done, like, I'll print on sheet paper, right? Just the cards and whatnot, cut them out. But what I do is I take a sleeve, and then some old cards that I have, I just put that in the sleeve, and then the one I printed is in front of that. So you still get the heftiness of a regular card, but in a sleeve, it's a lot it's a lot better than just having the paper,
Yeah,
that you printed out.
that's a really good tip.
Yeah.
I have a friend who lives just around the corner from me in Toronto, who's a
Hmm.
designer, and whenever I play one of his prototypes, that's what he has done
Oh
as
yeah.
well, right? He just has the sleeves backed with an extra card,
Yep.
and yeah, that's such a good way to go about doing it.
Oh,
I'm
totally.
getting a pack of sleeves, I think delivered to me today, by
Oh,
Amazon,
nice.
which I probably should have gone out somewhere, but I literally haven't done anything but be in this room and work or go to rehearsal, so I haven't had the time. But because we were playing, I played a game of Avalon with my cast the other night, and people were
Nice.
hanging out, and the room was humid, and people had drinks on the table, and like one of the cards got a little like floppy,
Yeah.
got put into some water, and that's what happened to to some other games that I have as
Okay.
well. I'm like, you know what, I just need, for those games that are like party games that are going to be out at like more social events, more social gatherings, for my own sanity, I need to get some sleeves. Like, I just need to get some sleeves for those, so
Yeah.
that I'm not like, no, please stop crumpling the card, please. No, you don't. That's your roll card. You don't ever have to touch it again. I don't know why it's in your hand. I do not know why it's in your sweaty hand right now. You don't have to touch it. We know you're on the good team. You don't have to look. Just put it down. Just put it and don't stop touching it. Which was, perhaps you can tell, a real thing that was occurring in my Imaginary says Chris is getting sleeves. Never thought I'd see it. Well, it's only for those specific circumstances, let me tell you, and where you don't really have to shuffle the cards, because I cannot shuffle sleeve cards. Well, I can very effectively with the mash shuffle. You just, yeah, that's that's a real time. That's real footage of me shuffling. Honestly, really not that far off. It's the worst. It's the worst thing imaginable. Yeah, yeah. You tend to see a little bit more of the game when they do get on the table, but it's strange. Not many people use them for that purpose. Kind of how Ruel's innovated with, and Goblin and Seabass saying in the comments the same with that print and play with the cards. I feel like we might be on the cutting edge of innovation for how to play campaign games with this stream. Oh, Ruel, you might be muted. That
Okay,
was
there
that
you
was
go.
Ruel's cough button
Yes, it is.
was
I still have that
was
cough,
on
folks,
there.
and I've been muting, and yeah. So thank you for that. Blue Fungi says,
Thanks, everybody.
Chris, mass shuffling. That's the video we need. I agree. That's all I want to see on the internet.
It's somewhere, and like, I forget what video it is, but I think it was in a crowdfunding countdown. Oh, so that's my Monday show. That's the Kickstarter one, but
Hmm.
it's really bad. And like, I can't tell you the amount of like comments of people who were triggered on like
No.
thinking it was a bit, because I do a lot of bits, right? Like,
Yeah.
I like to, I like to have a little laugh. But it really wasn't a bit, because somebody was like, just mash shuffle them. I was like, okay, I'll just mash them together. And I
Oh my
really
gosh.
legitimately thought that I'll have to find it as a clip. But
Yeah.
and then I did it the next week too, being like, hey, this is my better attempt. And it still was really bad. And then yeah, I was thinking about on April Fools of putting out like a how to shuffle cards video,
Oh,
and just
that
be
would have
doing
been
that with sleeves.
perfect. Oh
So
my
so
gosh.
maybe next April Fools, when it rolls around, I'll get to it and have that as like a designated
Yeah.
April Fools video. But I legitimately, like, I can't express to you how like hard I was actually trying, how hard I
Really?
actually try to shuffle these cards, and how much of like an infomercial it ends up looking like. The before you get this magic card shuffler TM, I'm the before picture.
Oh, I love it, man. So funny.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine Eric was saying the exact same thing. Looks like one of those TV commercials for made for TV product. Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Jojo Cracker says, "Can you imagine trying to shuffle Sleeve, Terraforming Mars, or Wingspan?" Oh my gosh.
Well, that's the point, right? Like, because it's so hard. The stacks are so huge, so that you
Mm-hmm.
can't do a nice riffle shuffle. And I'm very proud of my riffle shuffle. I'm very proud of like being able to riffle them like without any card deterioration whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure, maybe there might be like 0.01%, but I'm on the corners. I'm treating it
Yeah.
like some dough, you know. I'm treating it like I'm caressing a baby kitten's head. And then you can't riffle shuffle. You can't get that nice riffle shuffle, which I think objectively mixes up the cards better. That's my main issue, is that like
Yeah.
speed and um the actual like feeling of randomness that you get.
Yeah. Folks, can we get a clip of that? I just want a clip of Chris talking about massaging
Oh,
a
my
kittens.
my little baby kittens.
Yeah, I would just love to see a clip of that, friends, if you have time for that. So when you shuffle, so when I riffle shuffle, I do the same thing. I gently place my hands on the cards,
Yeah.
put them in two equal stacks, and I use my thumbs to just
Mhm.
shuffle.
Thumbs on
And
the
then
corners.
yeah,
I don't
that's
ever
all you
do in the
need.
middle either, too. You do in the middle, you bend your cards.
Yeah,
Like, I
you
get
don't,
that
and then
for
you don't
sure.
do like
No,
that bridge they call it, where you
no, I
do
don't
it
do the bridge.
no bridge, right? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no, no.
It's like,
Because that hurts. That feels like it would hurt the
I
cards.
mean,
And like,
yeah, we're not animals here. We don't bridge
yeah,
our
come
cards,
on.
right?
Yeah, we're respectable people up in this R&R&R show.
Nothing but respectable people in this show, folks. Goblin
Yeah.
does point out you need good quality cards, though. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, you could,
yes and no. It hurts your
right?
hands a little bit.
Yeah.
If they're not good quality though. Like I was playing Skip Bow for the first time. I've never played Skip Bow before,
I mean, what
but
is Skippo? I've seen it throughout my whole life.
you've
I've
seen
never
Skip
played. What
Bow?
is Skippo, Chris?
Honestly, it's okay as
Okay.
far as little card games go. It was in, at my girlfriend's parents' place. They were using it as like a game of war with her little nephew.
Okay.
He's like 5. Well, now he's 7, but back then he was 5. And
Mm-hmm.
so this time we were like, okay, we're actually going to play the real version of Skip Bow.
Mm-hmm.
There are you basic. It's almost like slow Dutch Blitz in a way,
Oh.
where you have a hand of cards, but like without the interesting solitaire aspect of it. You got a hand of cards, and you just got to put them out in 4 piles in the middle, and you go from 1 to 12. And skip bows are wild. And whatever you put out in the middle, you then draw back up to the hand of 5. It doesn't matter what cards you put into the middle, because you have a stack of cards that you have to get through. That's your goal. First person to get through that stack of cards wins. But you can supplement and you can maneuver using the cards in your hand. You're like, oh, I have a 10 over there. Great. I have a 7, 8, skip bow. Boom. Now I can move my 10 into the middle pile, right? And once the middle pile gets to 12, it then goes away and you started again at 1. And so it can be really slow. It's like, it's fine. It's better than Uno. I'd say it's better
Okay.
than Uno, right?
Okay.
But it's like of that sort of genre is
Yeah.
how I would put it.
So like a simpler, like obviously very family weight type of card.
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
Okay.
super fun. And like honestly, we played around and
Yeah.
somebody won and they were the skip bow champ. And then the next day we
Nice.
played another round, and it's just one of those games that you can put out with like just a family, right? And
Okay.
just play cards down and be mostly chatting and not focusing on the game. And then somebody makes a combo. And how
Yeah.
you end your turn is you take a card from your hand, you put it down in like one of your own 4 lanes. You can put
Mhm.
them on any lane you want. There are no card restrictions, but you do like lock the card into place. If I have a 10 down and I put like a 4 on my 10, I can't play the 10 until I play the 4, right? Like
Gotcha.
solitaire rules.
Okay.
But that's all it is. It's very simple, just like chaining things together. You
Yeah.
want to, and you put those cards down so that there's at least you're drawing back up to 5, so you're at least drawing 1 card on your turn. Or if you get rid of all 5 cards in your hand and you still have potential moves, you get to draw 5 more cards and keep on going, right? But you have to shuffle those cards a lot.
Yeah.
So I was shuffling them, and I definitely felt like paper cut-y stuff by riffle shuffling them, because I was constantly doing it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, as long as your thumbs aren't bleeding, I guess it's okay. I'm glad you brought up Dutch Blitz. I want to tell you, I actually have it in my cart.
Always...
Yeah, my online cart to buy. I'm waiting for Prime Day. I mean, this isn't a commercial for Amazon Prime, but if you do have an Amazon Prime account, folks, you can subscribe to the channel for free.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. We want to take money away from Jeff Bezos. So like if you
Yeah.
and like a lot of people use Prime, I get it. It's convenient.
Yep.
Super convenient. You save on shipping. Like if you are spending a lot of money on Amazon, you might as well save the shipping, right? Like I get it.
Yeah.
I also get that we want to take as much money away from Jeff Bezos as possible, which is why you should use your Prime subscription. You get one free one. You can then sign up and take that money out of Jeff Bezos' pockets.
Yes.
And put it into the R&R&R show.
Yes, folks, exactly. Oh, about Dutch Blitz. So when I added to my cart, I noticed there were expansion packs. What are those exactly? Because I want Dutch Blitz.
It's the same game.
Oh, it's the same game?
Yeah, it's the same game. Yeah, it's a blue one, right?
Yeah.
Is the expansion pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same game. They're just different decks. So you can play with 8 people instead of 4. That's the only difference.
Oh, okay.
I bought the blue one first, and then now I also have a green one.
Okay.
But exactly the same game. It's just you can play with more people because you just need a unique deck, and so they have the color on the back, and the symbols are different than in the main game. They just kind of rotated the colors around. Yeah,
Got
exactly
it. Understood. So if I want to play with more than 4 players, then I'd buy the second. Second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now
I don't often play with more than 4 players, but like
yeah.
I do have 2 packs of Dutch Blitz here just in case.
Just in case, I love it. So how is it at 2? I think you've talked about this before, but if you don't mind me asking again, how is the game at 2?
It's okay. I don't really gravitate towards it at 2.
Yeah.
The difference is you have in the 3 to 4 player game, you have 3 piles where you can take and rearrange your cards in that solitaire style.
Yep.
In 2, you have 5 piles. So you need the extra like options and maneuverability to keep the speed going and to keep like the cards getting free and being put into the middle. But I prefer the sort of frenetic pace and the frenetic nature of like 3 to 4 and only having those 3. So I don't often play with 2, but also I would never play with 2 because I wouldn't want the person who I was playing with to feel bad. And like at least if they have somebody else with them, then they can feel bad together. Because I'm gonna win. It's just I'm sorry. I'll say it as humbly as I can, but like I don't lose at that game. And that's a challenge. It is a challenge, and I want everybody to take up the challenge and come find me and face me. God, that'll be so great.
Yes. Okay. I want to practice because World Series of Board Game come out in September. I think we need to play, Chris. I want to bring my skills.
I will absolutely make time for that. I don't know when, but I don't care if it means taking an hour of sleep or playing an hour Dutch Blitz.
Yes.
I'll do Dutch Blitz.
Or missing a flight back to Canada. We're playing Dutch Blitz.
100%. Yeah, 100%. No problem.
Awesome.
We're playing Dutch Blitz.
Love it.
WSBG, baby.
What else?
Yeah, OCS1 Spectre says my family bought 2 of the original packs and then used a Sharpie on the back. Yeah, you could do that too.
Oh,
100%.
Okay.
You could do that. You could play up to 12 people if you wanted to, right? Like,
wow.
It would probably be madness.
Yeah.
And it would be like the more people you play with, the more kind of random you're hoping you get a good draw, right?
Yeah.
Because chances are somebody will get a good draw and be able to go a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like bananagrams in that regard in that speed game. When you go up more than 7 players, everybody just gets like 11 letters, and if you get a bunch of Z's and Q's, well, congratulations, you lose the game, right?
Yeah. Unlucky you.
yeah, exactly. Like it happens, but they're also like it's so quick that it shouldn't matter, right?
Right. Excuse me.
I love that we talk about Dutch Blitz like almost every time, and now I'm going to make a point to bring it up no matter what. Honestly, Dutch Blitz was almost on my list for travel games, but I didn't put it on because I know I talk about it too much.
And that's, I brought it up now, because number one, I knew you'd be excited that I'm going to buy a copy, but
100%. I'm so thrilled for you as well. I'm very excited.
I honestly thought it was going to be on your list too. I was sort of like giving this, like, I was hoping to sort of not really spoil it, but sort of give you a preview.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So it wasn't on your list.
It wasn't purely because I've talked about it so much. Like I'm gonna travel with it every time I go somewhere. Like I just am. But I was also aware of like it being a speed game. This is actually the real reason why it didn't get on the list, is because it is a speed game, and because it is a speed game, you need a specific type of table for it. And so I was
yeah,
more mindful about that, like
yeah,
those restrictions as
yeah,
well, and being like, okay, well, you don't have as much flexibility with this as like you might with other sort of card-based games.
yeah.
Because obviously there's going to be a lot of card-based games on throughout the list,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
That just makes sense.
yeah.
So that was my actual like legitimate consideration, and then
Okay.
I also said to myself, you come on, you can't force Dutch Blitz onto every list, but maybe I could.
I was gonna say you probably could.
My number one moving forward for any of these lists, Dutch Blitz.
Every single game. Top 10 worker placement.
Every single
Dutch
time.
Blitz.
Dutch
Yeah.
Blitz. Oh yeah, are you kidding me, Ruel? They got little men and women on the cards.
On the card
and you're
covers.
placing them out into the board. And the worker, it's such a dynamic worker placement because the new worker spots grow as you build the card piles
That's
in the
right.
middle.
Perfect.
Bam.
Dutch Blitz, folks. Just start a Dutch Blitz YouTube channel, man. I think that's what you should do. It's
Yeah.
like all Dutch
Let's spin
Blitz
off.
all the time. I love it.
Top worker placement game, Dutch Blitz.
Nice. Okay, why don't I hack a couple more times? Excuse me. We're gonna get ready to live stream the show, folks. Let's
we'll get into the list. And then we can do our honorable mentions in chat afterwards too, if we still have time. I think that's always a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, good call. Let me go to this scene here. I want to make sure we got this on camera. So this is our sponsor today, folks. Upper Story. They're the publishers of Spintronics. And we'll talk about it more when we start recording the show. But oh my gosh, this is so neat. And let me make sure this is all here. And then we're gonna go over to this scene. I will have the browser. Actually, why don't I grab the browser right now? Make sure it works.
Colin's saying those are so cool. Yeah, I'm excited. Well, we'll talk about it because we got to talk about it in the filming of it, so we won't talk about it twice here. But I'm also really excited that Spintronics to talk about Spintronics for sure.
Yeah, it's so neat. Where is
while you're doing that, Ruel, let me give a heartfelt just love fest to the chat. I love hearing about people playing games. I know we missed a couple. Somebody mentioned, I saw Revive in there. Yeah, Ashley said we played Icky, Thunder Road, Vendetta, Revive, Flick of Faith, Oh No, Volcano this weekend. What a fantastic weekend. I love Revive. I've only played that once too, but like that's one I want to get because it's really good. It's just like, it's just so joyful to me to hear about all of you enjoying games and having fun and participating in this hobby. And that just like, it just makes me so genuinely excited knowing that people have had some free time and have spent it with loved ones or friends or family or whoever, and have played games. And that's just like, that's literally when it boils down to, that's why this hobby exists. That's why it's taking off. That's why it's just such a great way to spend time with people. And I'm just so thrilled for all of you who've gotten a chance to play some games over the past week or few weeks or whatever. And if you haven't, that's okay. Me neither. But we can think about when we can play those games and just, I don't know. I just love sitting here chatting about fun stuff with you all. I think it's just great. And I just really appreciate everybody for sharing their experiences. And I love hearing about it. I do. So yeah.
That's awesome.
I love you all, chat. You're awesome.
Thank you.
And this has just been so like really refreshing. Like I'm tired. I'll tell you, I'm really tired. And so this has been like really refreshing to like talk about something fun and hear from you all. And yeah, it's just really great.
I'm wondering, like, what do your fellow actors do to refresh themselves when you aren't in rehearsals, doing shows and stuff? You're here with us. Are they just hanging out in their trailers or their rooms or whatever?
Well, in theater, we don't have any trailers.
Let's
be clear. Other than the one communal trailer in the park that we all sweatily get changed in, as we huff the set pieces up and down the hill.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, it's not glitz and glam, but it's good. It's good, honest work.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's been, probably drink. No, I'm just kidding. Well, half kidding. It's I feel like actors in general are like kind of social, are generally social people, and so sometimes you get energy from just hanging out and being with people. It was nice last night. We had our director made us spaghetti and meatballs for after the show.
Oh,
So we just
nice.
went all down to the stage because he's like, it's Italian because of Pinocchio and a Geppetto.
Nice.
So that was fun, just to like chill and hang out and share a meal and just chat and laugh and
That's
tell
cool.
jokes, try to make each other laugh, right?
Oh, I love that. Very nice. Okay.
Zen41 says Galaris just finished solo playthrough of Galaris. Yeah, Galaris is great. It's the only Lacerda that I've really played, but I enjoy it quite a lot. I agree, Jojo.
Awesome, Jojo. Awesome. I'm going to start the battle royale, Chris, so people can
let's start it.
Each other in the face. Here we go.
Look at these brave superheroes dropping down, dropping into the midst.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, that's not a show, and that's not a song from the show. I wish there is no music. Goblin says so. That's why I'm going to do it.
I'll get it. Hopefully, there's music now.
Scott O'Brien says no music. That's okay. Well, you know what? There's a med pack dropping in, and that's what. Is that friggin' no? That's just that avatar is usually Andrew Scott, who won last time.
Darn it.
Board Game Tears says new to Twitch. What in the world is going on here? Well, Board Game Tears, nice to see you. And also, we're having people punch each other in the face until only one victor is remaining, but virtually. So we all get to go home to our board game collection. You know? Killed by Rahdo. Is Rahdo still in this? Is Rahdo gonna take this? Is this friggin' like, is this rigged? Oh, here's the music. Here's the music. Yeah, here we go. Oh, this music is good. I just turned on my own.
Okay, got it. Nice.
Yeah. Look at all those med packs that people are just leaving behind. Yeah, scoop them up. Split them down.
Oh, who's left? Who's Richard? Oh my God, Coup is left. Wow. Did Richard really win this?
That's it. It was rigged from the start.
Yeah, we can't have that.
Don't play a game against Richard because he'll rig it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Totally
I'm trying
rigged.
to think of something funny to say, and I couldn't.
Folks, we got to do it one more time. We're going to give you a fair shot. Now, if he wins it again, he's won it back to back. I can't help you there, but we're going to do one more battle royale with music. Here we go again.
Yeah, there's that music. You feel the undulating pulse
good word
of darkness and despair, ready to take down these virtual cubes. Oh my goodness! That there was a shock. I have to unmute it so that I've got a delay. But I know it's epic. I know it's epic. Oh, the music's a little loud.
Turn it down.
Sorry, Goblin. You should have learned from the first time. What? And now you got no one to blame but your reincarnated self. I think Rahdo's still in it, isn't he?
Oh, if he wins again.
Then we know it's rigged. You just took it. Someone's got to take him down. Oh, he's surrounded. Oh, but he's not got enough. He doesn't have enough life. He's not gonna last. He came in second. Corthane, thank you for being the hero we all deserve.
Yes, thank you, Corthane. Congrats, my friend. And yeah, Goblin. Yeah, you were pointing out to someone that they were asking about. Yeah, it is from the original Star Trek. Board Game Tears. Thank you for that, friends. I think we're good to go for the show. What do you think, Chris?
Let's do it. Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it.
Let me make sure.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about these.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's on your lists as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Okay, folks, so we're doing top 15 travel games. Let me make sure all this stuff is, y'all can still hear me. I'm going to talk through that. Then we go to this scene with Chris, and then we go to this scene with our browser, which I will pop that up when it goes. Magic Eric, great comment, Magic Eric.
That's
yes.
a good reference. Yeah,
Great reference. I love that movie.
I definitely agree.
Okay. Okay. So give me just 1 second here. We'll make sure this is all my ducks are in a row. One more time. Make sure Spintronics is here. Okay.
All your little figures are in a row. Well, there you go. Now they're
okay.
Gone.
Cool. Wait a second. Where's... Okay. I think... Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's get ready to go. And... Hey everybody, today's R&R&R Show is brought to you by Upper Story, publishers of Spintronics, a game that you can build mechanical circuits with. And hello, Chris. How's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going pretty great, Ruel. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. During the pre-show, folks, you can watch the pre-show here on YouTube. We do an extended version of this live on Twitch. During the pre-show, we're talking about
how... a good one.
Yeah, we're talking about how busy we are. I mean, it's been insanely busy for both of us.
Yeah.
I've been doing stuff for board game companies. You've been acting and opening shows. And so I want to thank you for taking the time out and joining us here today to talk about board games.
No, I want to thank you for picking such a great topic of conversation of travel games, which I am well acquainted with, being away from my house right now.
Yeah,
that's what I want to thank you about.
It's gonna be a great show. But first, I want to talk about Spintronics, Chris. This is from our friends at Upper Story. They are sponsoring this episode of the R&R Show. And this, we'd also talked about during the pre-show. We both saw this on Kickstarter when it launched, and we're both excited about it. And I'm thrilled that I've had my copy for a little while now. I've played through a bunch of this. I'm not going to spoil it because I'm just going to show you the basics, folks. But this whole book, this is a puzzle book, Chris. There are, I don't want to give the answers away. But there's
nobody will remember, right?
Yeah.
I always find in these sorts of things where it's like, oh, careful, no spoilers. Yeah. Because that small 1-page second that you saw of things put together is going to stay in your head long enough for when you go get the game and build it yourself. No, get out of here.
It's like that darn well.
Spintronics.
I saw it. Yeah. So there's
these puzzles are cool.
Yeah, there are 60 puzzles in here. I've done I think half of them already. And
awesome.
What's really cool, so I'm going to open up the box, and oh man, the quality of this, Chris, we did talk about this before in the pre-show. The quality is really solid. These are all really solid plastic and little gears and everything. And what you're doing is, these are mechanical circuits, but they're done in a way without electricity. And it's a very, I'm always sort of hesitant about educational games, right? So-called educational games.
Yeah.
But this is awesome. There's something about it. It's analog, but it's talking about the digital world. And yet, I mean, it's so neat. They have magnets. So these just pop onto here. And as you can see, I can shake it around and they're not coming off, right? They're solid magnets. Yeah. And then these pieces here, as you go through this book, it's really neat, Chris. It's got this story. You're actually going through a little storybook.
Oh, cool. They got a graphic novel element to it. That's amazing. Yeah.
Which I honestly don't remember in the Kickstarter if they talked about this part of it.
I definitely didn't remember that. I've got the Kickstarter page pulled up on my screen over here, but just to get a closer view as well and looking at it again. And that's awesome.
Isn't that neat? So during the narrative, it's teaching you how to do has a tutorial talking about the battery here and then all the little circuits you're going to make. So here's a basic circuit. You've got resistors. And what it does is they give you the starting thing, and they're going to give you little challenges. These are the puzzles, like how to make your first circuit, right? And what they do is you have it on your table, and you're going to put it together. So I've already put this one together. This is I think puzzle 5 or something. But the parts, as you can see, they come over here in the box. There's a bunch of them here. Little circuits. You have little chains that you're going to chain up here. And what you do is you take one of these, and you're just going to slot it in there. It's got a little connector piece. And that just goes right there. And you have your little key. It's like the magic key. Just turn this around. Oops, I have it upside down. I got to put it right side up, folks. And then you just turn the key. And it locks into place. There it is. Boom. Wow. Just like that.
Cool.
And then depending on what you have, you're going to put the little resistors and little circuits, and they just magnetize there. And I've already built this this chain here. So now this isn't actually part of the puzzle, but I'm just going to show you how it works. What you do is just grab this, and you're going to pull the little thing, and there it is. It's spinning. It's spintronics. It's like magic. And so that's going clockwise. Some of the puzzles are how can you make a resistor go counterclockwise, and then how can you do two little resistors counterclockwise. And here's the challenge 5, which I was talking about. Here's the setup, and then you have the different things here. So let me see. I will set this up. So I take this off, and I've already pre-made my chain. So let me see. I have a little. You just add
that
little,
comes like separate in the box.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I can just increase the length of the chain by adding more links. There's a ton of links in the box, and I already pre-made this because it does first setup. It takes a little while, but once you get into it, oh man, it's so easy. So this is plastic, a nice quality plastic here. Whoops. And what I'm going to do is link these chain the links together. Boom, boom, boom. Ta-da. And then for this puzzle here, they give you the starting setup. So you want the setup to look like this. So I just take my handy dandy key. I take this off counterclockwise. That is gone. And then they give you a 1,000 and a 500 ohm resistor. So I've got 500 and 1,000. And the puzzle is, how am I going to make these spin counterclockwise? So what I want to do is chain these together. Okay. So I'm totally giving away one of the answers to the puzzle. That's okay, folks.
I think that's okay.
Yeah,
there's like 60 of them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Did you get Act 1 or Act 2 or the full?
I got Act 1. This is Act 1. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah,
yeah. Because there was 2 on the. I remember from Kickstarter, and I was refreshing myself when I knew Spintronics would be talking about it. But they had 2 options, right? You can have Act 1 and then Act 2. Which gives you like a little bit more complexity.
Yep.
Act 1 was the sort of the base that a lot of people did, but even 60 puzzles in one thing with like high quality components, and especially seeing the components now, I remember thinking the one cool thing while you continue, well, and you can cut me off whenever if you want.
No, go ahead.
But like what really drew me into this campaign way back when was this was, I would just looked it up too, was June 2021. June 19th, 2021 is when it funded. And what I thought was really cool was like this little blurb that they said, being like, electronics is the foundations of modern technology, but it's especially difficult to understand, right? Because you need mathematics. And so the whole concept of all of these puzzles is to help you understand like basic mathematics, right?
Yes.
Like, basic electronics, and how circuits work and how these things connect. And that was the educational part that you're talking about. But being able to frame it in a way that's so tactile.
Yes.
And like with clearly good quality components, like even just you snapping and moving things around in place, you're like, yeah, there's these magnets and these chains. I'm like, and it spins. I'm like, of course it does.
Is that neat?
That's exciting, right?
Yeah.
So to have this like physical puzzle thing, I think is potentially really cool.
Yeah. And I think, along those lines, we're all analog gamers here, folks. We talk about board games. We talk about analog games, and there's something, like you said, something about that tactile feeling. So about seeing this and putting it together. And here's how I'm solving this puzzle here, this challenge 5. How do I make these go counterclockwise? Look, instead of placing this on the little battery here, I put you actually see I put the chain right outside of it. So when I pull the thing, they're actually going counterclockwise now. Because of the way I put the chain there,
right,
rather than around it where it would go around and around, and there it is. Now, this isn't all you get, folks. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Again, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but there's other pieces. Chris, there's something here that actually makes sound. It's really cool. It's just amazing. So, I want to thank Upper Story for sponsoring the R&R Show today. There you go, folks. Be sure to check the links below for more info on Spintronics and where you can get that. But let's get on with the show. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Just one quick point before we go on. Like honestly, even if you're like, oh, it might be too expensive for me with all the little hardware. Like, I still think you should just check it out for fun. Like, I think it looks really cool. And so even if you're like, oh, maybe I buy it, maybe I not, like legitimately just go check it out and for the sole purpose of going, yeah, that's neat. Oh,
Oh yeah,
that is really cool. And seeing the little bits and seeing
yeah,
like them walk it through.
totally.
Like I remember this from 2 years ago and thinking about how neat it was, and I'm so thrilled that it seems to be delivering on the promise that it made on the
Yes,
Kickstarter as well.
yes.
So that's
Same
just it's
here.
very exciting for me. And
Totally.
I was like being able to legitimately talk about things that I'm excited about, and this is one of them. So
This
yeah,
is one of them. That's right. Thank you for that,
but
Chris. And
yeah,
why don't we jump into the show? This is our top 15 travel games. We talked about we are on the road. It's that time of the year. Summertime, people are traveling. And we've got 15 great games. Chris, myself, and Richard. We will
hmm
be talking about 15 travel games. I'm going to give it up to Chris. You're going to kick us off today, my friend. What you got on the list for us?
yeah. So number 15 is I think no, it's in my other bag. It's
Uh-oh.
not within reach, but
Okay.
it is one that I brought because I am traveling right now. I'm normally in Toronto. I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and so this is one that I was like an auto include.
Mhm.
It's a very simple game. You can play this at a lot of different places. This is why it makes it on the list. It's Skull. At least
Nice.
I think it's Skull. I
It
think
is
I put
Skull.
that as the right.
Yes.
No, yeah, okay. As long as I put it in the right order and I'm not talking tales out of school, which I generally also do. Um, but yeah, Skull is so good. I got this. I found this in a bin at this place called Binge Bins, and it was open and it was scattered everywhere. And I collected all the pieces and I said, "Give this to me," and they sold it to me for $8, and it was great.
Nice.
But I brought this one especially because it's really good for outdoors too. All it
Oh.
is four coasters and like a little mat. So everybody gets four coasters, three have flowers, one has a skull. And then it starts by everybody putting a coaster face down in front of them. And then on your turn, you can do two things. You could put another coaster on top of your coaster, or you can start the bidding. And so the bidding round themselves, the bidding is you say a number, and that's how many coasters you think you can flip over, starting with your own that don't have skulls on them. And so the premise is like, okay, well, I'm bidding two because I know I have two in front of me that don't have skulls, but maybe I'm just bidding that because I have a skull and I want people to flip over my skull. Because if you don't flip over flowers and you flip over a skull, well, you lose a coaster. If you do flip over only flowers, you get a point. First to 2 points wins. Like it's a quick game,
Hmm.
super easy to play, really good, like bluffing and a social game of just reading each other. It's Perudo, I think, basically.
Hmm.
Other than but just using like coasters and skulls and roses. It used to be called Skulls and Roses. I remember back in the day
Yep.
when I was first getting into board gaming, I went into a board game shop and I said, "Hey, I'm doing a Secret Santa and I want a game that's going to be a hit." And they said, "Oh yeah, take this one." And hopefully it was a hit. But now that I know what game it was, I feel very good about that Secret Santa purchase from way back. Yeah, really solid. And for travel considerations, you can play this anywhere. It plays up to 6 people, and especially that you can play it outside because it's just
Yes.
cardboard or like in a bar, wherever. It's just a really good game to play on the go. Very simple to teach. Very simple to get people into. That's our collective number 15, Skull.
Yeah, great call. I had a feeling you put this one on the list 'cause I know we've talked about Skull before, and
Yeah,
um, I
yeah.
think it's a great point that you bring up, Chris, as far as it being able to be played outside, right? I mean, if we're
hmm
truly traveling, we do want some games that are able to withstand the elements, and Skull is one of them. It's a fantastic
Yeah.
game, and you know what?
That was a pretty major consideration for me
Yeah,
for my own travel because I'm doing outdoor theater right now. So in between shows or rehearsal or whatever, I was really cognizant of trying to bring games that would translate well to outside.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
was I was just gonna ask you, now that you're on, travel right now, did you bring your copy of Skull with you to Nova Scotia?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
It was the first one in my bag. It's the first one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
great choice. Let's move on to number 14. This is for me. This
hmm
is a game that I believe also can be played outside, Chris. This is collectively our number 14. It is Deep Sea Adventure. This is a push your luck game. Here we are. Michelle and I playing it on my channel a couple of years ago. This is an Oink game, so Oink games are very tiny. They can literally fit in your
Mm.
pocket, and it's a push your luck game. It's a cooperative. It's interesting. Here I am with a bear puppet. That's what we do on my
Oh my
channel, folks.
goodness,
So
Ruel.
yeah,
A bear?
a bear.
You would
It's
do that to me?
Benny the
Didn't you
Bit
know
Bear.
that bears kidnapped my entire family?
I'm
I
sorry,
can't
Chris.
believe you would
He's
show
totally
me this
triggered.
trauma. You wonder why I no longer play games outside. This is because all the
Because the
bears
bear,
have
oh my
forced me
gosh.
inside.
Friends who are afraid of bears, my apologies. This is Deep Sea Adventure. It's a push your luck game. It's semi-cooperative, so you are traveling down in the deep sea trying to get treasures, and you're rolling a die. And there are six-sided dice, but they don't go up to six. And what you do is roll, and you go down, and at any point you can stop and pick up a treasure, but the decision point here is, when do I go back up to the submarine? Because Chris, as you go down further, as the more treasures you get, you have oxygen to worry about, and you're running out of oxygen the second you jump in the ocean. And every time you move down, the more treasures you have, that counts against your oxygen. So you're trying to race back up while you still have oxygen. If oxygen runs out, everyone, not just you, but everyone that's down there loses. You just lose all your treasures. You get 0 for the round. So it's this really neat element. It was like, how far can I push? But then there's a tiny bit of take that. Like, I can just go down not too deep. I can go shallow, pick a bunch of treasures, and go right back up and just hose everyone because I'm right back up. I have air, and just watch everyone else trying to roll dice, trying to panic and get back to the top before they run out of air. So it only goes 3 rounds. It's a 20-minute game. It's such a great push your luck game. It's super easy to get to the table. As you can see, it's tiny. It's an oink game, so it's very easy to travel with, and that's why it's our number 14 Deep Sea Adventure.
That's a nice pick. Yeah, really, really interesting. When I was making my list, I obviously looked up on YouTube for other people who've made similar travel lists, and I think I saw this on one of them. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe Brothers Murph might have put it on theirs.
I think
Brothers Murph might have done a list too. But like, yeah, Oink games make sense, right? They're a perfect fit for this. They are designed to be travelable. You know,
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. That's Spintronics. Let's move on to our number 13 game. Rich is going to be talking about it right now.
Okay, folks, before we get to my number 13, I just wanted to say this is not the first time I have done this particular list. About half a decade ago, just when my wife Jen and I were leaving Malta to move back to the States, I teamed up with Eleni from Czech Games Edition. And we did a top 10 travel games. Jen and I were about to travel to the States. She was about to travel back home to Greece. We were both living in Malta at the time. And I think it's a great list. I think it still stands. There's a link for it down in the show notes if after you're done with this video, you want to hear about a bunch more really great travel games. I highly recommend it. Had a great time with Eleni. And now, moving on. Chris, I'm really glad to see Skull is on this list because I can't wait to hear you describe it. Because, interestingly, Skull made Eleni's list half a decade ago. So, are you just copying her? I don't know. But I have to admit, when she was describing it to me, I could not get my head around it. I've actually seen Shut Up and Sit Down do a video about this game. I could not get my head around it. Hopefully, Chris, you will finally set me straight on why Skull is so fantastic. And, well, Deep Sea Adventure looks really charming. A fun little push your luck game. I would certainly want to give that one a try at some point. But anyway, folks, now let's move on to number 13 on this list. And I'm just going to have to apologize right up front because it's Oneironauts. And I'm apologizing because this is a game that you cannot get. It had a very, very small print run. It is readily available in Ukraine from the publisher iGames. I don't know, maybe you could order direct from them, and that would certainly be cool. But here's the deal. I have always felt that whenever we're traveling and I'm carrying games with us, I've always got to have something in the backpack that I can use for playing with the normal folks. You know, if you're part of a travel group or something like that. My wife and I, for years, traveled with her parents. And so while I always carried, nice crunchy games for me and Jen to enjoy as hardcore gamer geeks, you got to have something to play with the normies. And for me, that used to be Dixit or Codenames, but Oneironauts so eclipses those. It's something you can instantly teach to anybody because it's cooperative Dixit. It's absolutely fantastic, and I hope it gets a wider release. I guess I'm just going to keep talking about it until some publisher works with iGames to get it more widely available because it's absolutely fantastic. I don't really need to say much more than Cooperative Dixit, although there's an extra added bonus. It works great for 2 players also, which is kind of unheard of for these kinds of games. So I highly recommend it. Now, if you can't get your hands on it, as a fallback, you could get a copy of Stella Dixit Universe, because even though it comes with Dixit games instead of Oneironaut games, it comes with enough components that you could replicate the functionality of Oneironauts. So in a pinch, you could go with that, but oh my gosh, this game is so much fun. Works great for 2, works great for higher player counts. I've played it at a bunch of different player counts at social events. It's always a hit. And working with other people as opposed to trying to beat them, I think is just a more inviting thing in general. So number 13 on the list, once again on the R&R Show. I think this is a 3rd time it's made a countdown. Oneironauts. Okay.
Yeah, Oneironauts, and I keep wanting to call it Oneironauts. That's just that's why I want to pronounce it. But I know Rich was talking about it several times. Have you gotten a chance to play it yet, Chris?
No, I haven't. No,
either.
I only know of it through Richard talking about it on past lists for sure. But
yeah,
Dixit's great. I mean, like,
I love Dixit.
Still works. That's why Mysterium works.
Yep.
And so if you like those sorts of games, absolutely one to check out.
Definitely. Cool. Okay, so that's our number 13. Let's move on to number 12. Back to Chris.
All right, number 12. This is a game I really hold dear to my heart, and this is a game that I took on tour with me when we were doing a 100 schools like tour of a show called Beethoven Lives Upstairs, and we played it every single lunchtime. I'm not even joking with you. Like,
nice.
Every single lunch, we played multiple times of this game. It's so quick. It's another card-based game. It's another sort of bluffing game, and this one gets up a little bit over Skull because it has a little bit more depth and complexity to it, and that's Coup. Yes. So Coup for me is so good. Like, I could play this so frequently, and specifically Coup, not Coup G54. I think Coup G54, it comes in a larger box. It adds a little bit too much complexity with Coup. The base Coup is so elegant in terms of how it uses the 5 rolls, and the game just gets deeper and deeper when you play with the same people, because you know that at the beginning of the round, I'm going to have 2 dukes in my hand. I'm just going to have them. It doesn't matter what you all say. I'm going to have 2 dukes in my hand. And so, like, being able to play with that sort of meta game is also super fun. For those of you who don't know Coup, you can see it on the screen right now. It's last person standing. You can take a number of actions to get coins in order to coup your opponents and take out their lives. Everybody has 2 lives, 2 cards face down, and you're only legally allowed to do the actions that are on those cards for those specific characters. However, you can take whatever action you want, and as long as nobody calls you on it, it goes through. And so having that push and pull, because you have to put up one of your own lives as like a challenge, because if I call you on it and you were telling the truth, I lose a life, and you only have 2 lives. So it's risky to challenge, but it's also risky not to challenge and let the action go through if you think they're lying. So it's such a fun back and forth. I honestly, I almost put Skull ahead of Coup, because I wanted both of them to be on my list, because I feel like I will just always travel with these 2 games. But I ended up putting Coup ahead again because of that added depth of complexity. I've played a bunch of Skull now, and we were playing it outside the other day on a picnic table, and it was super fun. But I also can see it getting a little bit stale at a certain point, right? Because it's the same. Are you lying or are you not, right? And so there's not much more to the game than just, I'm going to try to read my opponents right now. Although it provides for really memorable and exciting moments of somebody calling 8 flowers and revealing 8 flowers amongst the table, which is such a high number. You're like, whoa, how did that happen? Or just flipping the skull on the last number, right? You go to the people who you're pretty sure that they weren't lying, and then you're left with the person who might have been lying, and then when they were lying, it's a big, like, fun event. Coup just has so much interplay between the 5 character cards and plays super quickly as well. I just love the depth to this game, and I won't go anywhere without it. My Coup cards are ratty that I need to put them in sleeves. We were talking a little bit about this in the pre-show, about sleeve cards. I purposely didn't say Coup in that because I wanted to save it for this list.
Nice.
But Coup, like, there's a tear on my assassin card. and you can't really have a tear on the cards
Yeah.
because then the people will know you're the assassin. So what we do is we just take the player aids and we just put them over top of the cards, and it works very well. Nobody looks when you deal them out. You just take them, put them underneath. So you'll always find ways to work around these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've played so many games of Coup, so many, and I'm still not tired of it.
Yeah.
And the fact that we could play it every lunchtime, like for 3 months straight, I think is a testament to how well this game holds up.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a while since I played, but I remember there was also a time in my gaming group when I first got in the hobby where it was like played every week. You know, it's like, hey, we start with Coup and then we play other games, and it's
100%.
still holds up. Now, have you played the app? There's an app of this game, isn't there? I think there's an app where you can play, right?
If there is, I don't know. Can you play against real people?
I'm not sure. So maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, but there is an app out there.
If there was an app against an AI, I wouldn't be interested. And honestly, on an app, I wouldn't really be interested either. To me, what's so exciting about this game is the interplay, right? I like games that make people talk and make people like laugh and do silly things around the table.
Yeah.
Like my buddy Cody, for like 2 games in a row, all he did was take the ambassador action. That's all he did. And we're like,
Nice.
You didn't keep an ambassador again. He's like, yeah, I did. And better challenge me. Or like, hey, challenge. And he had the ambassador. And so you can do like such stupid, funny things with that to make for like such memorable, great gaming experiences that like I wouldn't want that as an app form or virtual, right? Like it's just so much better in person.
Agreed. Great choice, Chris. Okay, and again, an easy game to travel with. Let's move on to number 11. This is my pick. This is another game that easy to travel with, and I was thinking about theme this time as well. Like, we're traveling, we're getting out to do stuff, and I think this game captures the theme and also its ability to travel as far as being a game. It's our number 11, our combined list, Trails. Trails, folks, is the mini version of the game Parks. And this is actually a really affordable game. You can get it at like Target. I think the retail price is like 20 US. You can get it much cheaper as well. But the components, the artwork are fantastic. Just like Parks, you are traveling along national parks, trying to do a little, action selection, a little worker placement, and beautiful components. You just go grab resources and you're trying to turn those in for badges, which require you to turn in certain resources. You can also take photos and whatnot. It's basically the game Parks streamlined down into this very smaller streamlined version, which plays in about 20 minutes. And if you know me, folks, you know I love those type of games. This is Michelle and I playing on on tabletop tonight. A little, maybe like, I don't know, a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, but we love it. You just, take your piece, move it on to one of the spots there, take the action or the resource, collect them, and after 3 rounds going back and forth, whoever has the most points wins. It's so streamlined. It's a beautiful game, and I've actually heard people prefer this. Some people prefer this over the full game Parks. I don't agree with that. I think this is a way to get Parks, the feel of Parks, without having to do as much setup or as much time. And of course, Parks is a lot bigger. This one, seriously, you can fit it again in a box or in your pocket or your bag very easily and travel with it. And it does capture that nice feeling of, hey, I'm at the outdoors, even though I may be indoors playing a game, but it's the great outdoors captured in the box. That's why it's our number 11, Trails.
Nice. I've played Parks. I haven't played Trails, but honestly, I think Trails might appeal to me more than Parks. I didn't even really know about Trails really.
Oh, okay.
Because I enjoyed Parks, but I never was like a huge fan of Takedo, and it has that similar like whoever's in last gets to choose the next action. I think Parks does it significantly better than Takedo.
Agreed.
But for me, that mechanic isn't one that like I really am excited to spend a significant amount of time with. So actually having it in like a 20-minute game, I think that would be around the time where I would be like satisfied playing with it. Yeah, feeling good. Boom, done, moving on, right?
Yeah.
And so that aspect of it actually really intrigues me, and I think it's a really great pick because of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because I distinctly remember one of my friends saying almost the exact same thing. They liked Tokaido, but didn't love it enough to play like a 45-minute game. But then with Trails, same mechanic, but 20 minutes, totally doable. Yeah, great call.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see what Richard's got for us at number 10, friends.
Very interesting choice, Chris. Coup. Of course, that makes sense for you. You're an actor, so you want to spend all your time lying to your friends and seeing how well they lie to you. I have to admit, I tried this once many, many years ago, and I can see the appeal. It's very clever, but oh my god, I hated it so much. But yeah, I totally get it. And I guess if you really wanted to play, I would sit down and lie with you for a half an hour. That didn't come out right. But anyway, number 11, Trails. Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you there too. Only because, as sweet and charming as it is, this is a terribly scaled two-player game. Jen and I were so disappointed. I wanted to love it so much. It's definitely better at higher player counts, which I guess if you're traveling with others makes sense. And I don't know, was there an expansion for Trails that actually tightened it up and made it a better two-player game? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, let's move on now to number 10 on the list. Tiny Epic Defenders, the second edition. Oh my goodness. Here's the deal. I already talked about one cooperative game that I can just play with anybody. But I also want a cooperative game that I can sit down and play with my wife, Jen, that really challenges us, that pushes us. And Tiny Epic Defenders is one of my all-time faves because it is effectively a super portable, almost micro game version of Pandemic. It has the same basic idea of traveling around a world and fighting hotspots, and most importantly, anticipating where those hotspots are going to be and staying one step ahead. This is a cooperative game where players get to be proactive instead of reactive. And it borrows the very, very cool card deck variable turn system of Aeon's Inn. In fact, did this game come out before Aeon's Inn? Did Aeon's Inn borrow it from Tiny Epic Defenders? I don't know. But regardless, the second edition of this game is so gorgeous. Introduced so many really cool, amazing ideas with fancy, fanciful bosses like a Shadow of Colossus giant you ride around on the back of, all kinds of things. Lots of variety with the different special player powers. And it's just a ton of very challenging, if you play at the higher difficulty level, cooperative fantasy adventure gameplay in just about the tiniest package you can get. It is epic, and yet it is tiny. And if I were allowed, if I could also throw in Tiny Epic Defenders The Dark War, which is still an incredibly tiny box, just two tiny epic boxes, oh my gosh, it goes even further for replayability and so many cool, wonderful, evocative, and very, very challenging cooperative gameplay choices. Again, I mean, I'd love to bring Pandemic, but Pandemic is a bigger game with a bigger board. This is one you can pretty much set up and play anywhere and have a fantastic time. Number 10 on the list, Tiny Epic Defenders, the second edition.
Wow, I thought he would have put Pandemic on here, but not the regular Pandemic, but the smaller version Pandemics, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
surprise, surprise. I was surprised. I didn't. I mean, Okay, well, here's my take on it. I played Tiny Epic Defenders the first edition.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I don't remember why I didn't like it. It really fell flat with me. And I have heard that the second edition fixed a lot of things that were wrong with the first edition. So maybe I want to give it another shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair, right? There can be those sort of really significant differences between editions that change things and make them work. I expected some sort of Tiny Epic something to be on this list, right?
Yeah.
Their whole line is based around like big games in a small package,
Right.
and so it's cool that Defenders also fits that bill. I've only played Tiny Epic Quest out of all the Tiny Epic series. That's the
Oh,
one
okay.
I've played.
Yeah.
I've heard that Galaxies is like the tippity top, though, generally.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that would have been my bet for seeing a Tiny Epic on this list. But Defenders, there you go.
Yeah.
A co-op, right? That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. Speaking of Tiny Epic Quest, how'd you like that one? I mean, if that's your only Tiny Epic, game
Yeah,
you
I
played.
thought it was good. It ultimately left my collection because I found that it's weird with these sorts of games that I think it does so much, but it also needed such a large table presence as well, right?
Yeah.
So because you're laying out all the cards in Quest and you're making this big row,
Yeah.
I was like, well, this kind of is defeating the purpose a little bit
Yeah.
in terms of if I'm going to be playing this big sprawling thing, I'll probably play like a larger game.
Yeah.
It defeats the purpose of me kind of carrying it around.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that was all right. I like the Zelda theme. I mean, like it was clearly
Of
Zelda.
course.
Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that, but it just didn't like it didn't grab me as much as I was hoping it to. And then it was in that really weird in between place that I was like, you know what? I never grabbed this because if I'm grabbing small games, I'm getting a smaller game, right? Like I want a smaller experience. And if I'm grabbing larger games, well, then I'm going to get a larger experience. So it's just in that weird middle ground for me.
That's totally fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. Let's move on, Chris. What you got for us? And I think we're on number 9 now.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this next one because I just played it for the first time like a month ago, and it's been around for ages. I've known it's good. People have said it's good, and now I can agree that it's good. This was brought in by a castmate in the show. We were talking about board games, and she said, "Oh, well, I have Hero Realms. We should play that." And then she brought in Hero Realms, and I love it. I think this is such a great deck builder in a small package that also has a small footprint too. You're going to be, you have like 80 cards or something. It's a very small box. It's about the same size as like a tiny Epic box, really. And you have a number of cards. They're basically broken down into 4 different categories, and those 4 different categories or classes synergize with each other. And you just want to get the cards that let you punch your opponent in the face better than they can punch you in the face. That's it. But what really intrigued me and what drew me in is the way the synergies worked. I found that like each of the different color synergies was interesting. I found that I wanted to play it again. We didn't really get through a lot of the deck too. That's also what I'm generally worried about in these sort of smaller card games, is the amount of cards that you go through, and therefore that impacting the replayability. And I know there's a ton of expansions for Hero Realms. And I was like, okay, maybe that's why there's a ton of expansions for Hero Realms, because like the replayability isn't there. But I don't think that's the case. I just think people like the system and wanted more. I was really charmed by this. You buy cards, you play them in front of you, and they're usually either like attacking cards or they're like little heroes that you can put out, and they stay outside of your deck as well until the opponent kills them. And they can constantly be used every round. And so some of them your opponent has to target before they can target you, which then provides a huge barrier. And also I can feel like there might be a little bit of a runaway leader issue with Hero Realms. I haven't played it enough to know, but it kind of feels like it could lean that way. If you just get a big fearsome big bad out there that your opponent just can't break through, then you get a couple rounds of being able to hit your opponent when they can't hit you, and it feels like that'll be like the nail in the coffin. But for me, like I don't mind that, because I like the synergies that you can create, and I'm just really, really charmed by this game, and will definitely be adding it or Star Realms to my collection, because they're essentially the same.
Pretty much.
At some point, if I see it for a good price, and there's always a good price too. I think Hero Realms or Star Realms showed up in one of my like March Madness deathmatch tournaments where we about best value games under $25, and I think Hero Realms, like, it was sitting around there. So the fact that you can have such a good game for that, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. I love Hero Realms, and I also love Star Realms. This system of games is so excellent. As you can see, you were talking about expansions. Richard, in the video that we're watching right now, that's actually the Ruins of Thandar,
cool.
the campaign game. So it actually takes that system, and you have a story. Oh, it's so good. I've really enjoyed this one. It's a great call, Chris. I think it's a better game. I just think it's a better game than Star Realms. But I'm such a sci-fi geek. I have I still have my original Star Realms and tossed in my bag. I actually got that one for, honestly, on sale for like $7 US one time. So you can find these ultra cheap, folks.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah.
And Hero Realms. Oh, it's such a good one. I'm glad this was made on the list. I think folks, if you watch
the potential for yours,
folks, if you watch the extended edition of this, if you watch it live, we actually talk about the games that didn't make the list. So I may or may not have included the Star Realms. You'll have to watch the extended edition for that. But great call with Hero Realms.
It sounds like you may have it.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, great call. Let's move on to our number 8. And once again, Chris, I was thinking 2 things: games that you can travel with, but also the theme of traveling. And like a lot of us here in the U.S., we like to take road trips during the summer. I'm sure everyone likes to do it, but taking a road trip, it's a time-honored tradition during the summer. So I had to include this one. This is our number 8, and it is, let me get the video ready to roll. It is the number 8 combined list, Rolling America. And this is a roll and write that, again, it's available at Target, your big box stores, for under $10 US. I think it might be like $12 retail. Our friends Monique and Naveen playing it here. Roll standard dice, but they're all different colors, and you're trying to fill in the states of the US. And what you're trying to do is connect numbers that are that are alike. So you can have like the sixes together. I think it's, yeah, you can have numbers together or sequences or whatnot. But then you're going to eventually get to that point where you cannot fill in a square or a state based on the number that's rolled. But that's when the special abilities come in. You can duplicate numbers. You can add, I think, add or subtract one from them. It's been a while since I played, but I remember how much I love this. It actually traveled with me for a while in my bag. It would be the one I would take and just, play, either on a plane when I'm traveling or whatever, because you can play solo. It's only 8 rounds, 20-minute game, wonderful roll and write, and I had to have some kind of roll and write on this list. And if you would have asked me like what my favorite roll and write is all time, I'd lean towards like Cartographers or Dinosaur Island Roar and Write, or even On Tour, which is sort of got a travel theme. But as far as, taking it and putting it in a bag, this is the one that fits the best in a bag. It's another one that's really tiny, and it can fit in your hip pocket or whatever. And that's why I chose it for our number 8, Rolling America. And this one is actually based on an older game, I believe, called Rolling Japan, which had, Japan, sectioned out into little areas. But then they adapted to American audience and did Rolling America. But I don't think there's a Rolling Canada, Chris. I'm sorry, but we do have Rolling America.
That's okay. we're kind of in Ticket to Ride. There's like 2 or 3 places.
Yeah.
So, that's where we got ours.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So Rolling America, have you played this one, Chris?
No, I've played On Tour. I was going to ask you how you felt between the two, but you seem to prefer On Tour more as like a game, but you prefer to travel with this one.
Yeah,
that's the sense that I got.
Oh, absolutely. I think On Tour is an awesome game, but it is bigger, and I can't really see. I mean, you could travel with it, but this one it's like this big, so it's definitely a pocket-sized game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Let's see what Richard's got for us. What are we at? Number 7.
All right. Hero Realms. Chris, I don't disagree. That's a great choice. I think most people would probably throw Star Realms in their backpack, but nope. I think Hero Realms is definitely the superior game of the two, especially if you throw in, I forget the name of it, the Rundar or the Thundar, or there's an expansion that turns it into an excellent little cooperative campaign fantasy adventure game. That is chef's kiss awesomeness. So cool. And what was yours? Oh, Rolling America. I've not played that, but I did play the original Rolling Japan, and it's an excellent little roll and write. Wonderful choices. Okay, then let's move on to number 7, Furnace. Although, what I'm showing here is Furnace with the new expansion, Interbellum. Now, I take Furnace anyway, but the Interbellum expansion fits in the box too, and oh my gosh, here's the deal. I want to have at least one game in my bag that is crunchy, super crunchy, like incredibly heavy, and dense, challenging Euro in a super tiny package, and it doesn't get much crunchier than Furnace. A wonderful, fast-playing, and brilliantly elegant little auction game that also, by the way, with the Interbellum expansion, plays fantastically solo as well. In case Jen's off doing something and I'm stuck by myself for a while, I have a great time with it solo. But when you add the Interbellum expansion, this is one of the crunchiest games Jen and I have played this year. So deep, so many options. It adds so many cool new features, but I would bring Furnace even without Interbellum because of the core idea of an auction game where half the time when you place your bid, you place it wanting to lose. Because whenever you lose on whatever you're bidding on, you get a consolation prize. And the higher you bid, the bigger that consolation prize is. So you want a big consolation prize. But if you bid too high, you might end up winning the card in the first place that you didn't even want, because it doesn't work with the rest of the engine you're building for yourself. So freaking brilliant, this game, and Interbellum takes it to the next level. So number 7 on the list has to be, for me, Furnace.
Wow, I didn't even consider this a travel game. The box isn't that small, but now that I think about it, you could totally take the stuff out of the box and make it a smaller size game, right? But a brilliant game, one of my favorites of the last few years. Furnace is outstanding.
Yeah, I really want to try it. It's on my list. I
Yeah.
haven't played it yet, but it's like I've heard such good things.
Yeah.
And the box is thin enough too. Like it's thin enough and it's like about yay size.
Yeah.
It's slightly bigger, a little bit bigger than my number one, but
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll have to wait and see what that is.
You have to wait. Okay. Well, we're at number 6, Chris, which is your choice again. What you got for us?
Yeah, number 6. Well, we'll see if Richard agrees with me again. I
Oh,
know he is just really excited to lie with me. That's all. That's all I got from his, and that's why he's agreeing with Hero Realms. He's trying to butter me up. So we'll see how he feels about this one. It feels so. It's so odd to me for us to agree on something.
Right?
But this one was the first thing that I put on this list. I think I was like, okay, I'm thinking about travel games. You got to think about this abstract game, and that's Hive Pocket.
Nice.
It's the travel version of Hive, which nobody ever needs to get Hive ever again because this exists and it is cheaper for the exact same game, right? It's an abstract game. You're putting a tile out into the middle. You have to surround the opponent's queen with tiles. They can be their own tiles or your tiles, doesn't matter. And then every tile you put out moves in a different way. So ants scutter around the side, grasshoppers jump in a straight line. You get the picture. They all have different abilities,
Yep.
and it's very chess-like is how it's often described. And I agree with that because it is this tactical back and forth of positioning and maneuvering and trying to get your pieces in the locking position instead of the other position, right? The non-locking position, the position where they're basically garbage. And what's cool about this is that you can't break the chain, right? So that's how you can lock things into place. You put your piece in a spot where if they were to move the piece that they want to move, it then breaks the chain so they can no longer. And that's kind of the back and forth. This is a game that I don't yet own. I've been meaning to pick up a copy. It's just because my friend has a copy, and if I'm going to play Hive with somebody, I'm probably going to play Hive with my friend. My girlfriend doesn't really like these sort of abstract, tactical head-to-head style games, so like I wouldn't play with her. But the fact that all it is are just these pieces, this is again hits the criteria of being perfect to play outside as well. This is a game you can put in your pocket and really go and play literally anywhere. I think in the one review, maybe Shut Up and Sit Down, their review of Hive was like out in a desert. They just placed it on some rocks. You know what I mean? Like it's just all it is are the pieces, and the pieces are really good quality.
Yeah.
I think it's a really smart, interesting game. So it was a no-brainer to be on the list, and that's why it's this high up there as well, because it kind of feels like the obvious pick. But I still have one more that I'm more excited about to talk about, and
Nice.
so that's why it is where it is.
Yeah, great call. I love Hive, and as you said, it does have that parallel to chess, right? Abstract, but this plays in like it's a lot simpler, but there's still a ton of strategy in it. And I don't have this either, and I feel like I need this game in my collection. I've always enjoyed it. I just don't know why I don't have it. And I know
it's one of those things where like if you don't, I feel like if you play a lot of that abstract like stuff, you're gonna get into it, but like it's one where like I want to have it, but I also know it needs a particular player to like enjoy with.
True.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's not as pan-applicable to like a lot of other people. So you really need to have that player who will enjoy it to the same extent that you do. And I think that's why I don't own a copy, because the player who enjoys it to the same extent as I do already has a copy. And like not a lot of other players will enjoy it to that same extent, right? And so therefore it doesn't really make sense to add. That's probably why I have delayed, but it's one where I like, if I see it on sale, I'm probably just going to get it.
Yeah, same here. And I didn't I've seen the regular Hive more often than I've only seen the Hive Pocket edition once before. And it's totally travel. And I think
it's so much better.
I think even the original one, you can still travel with it, but the pocket
you could, the pieces are just bigger.
They're not, they're not too big, but great call, Chris. Well done. Okay, let's move on to number 5. This is my choice for the list, and we were just talking about Hero Realms, Star Realms. This is the one for me personally that actually replaced Star Realms and Hero Realms for me. I love this game, and I did a run-through of it here on the Rahdo Runs Through channel. It is Star Wars, the deck building game. Now, Of course, I had to think of our
Nice.
theme, Chris, as far as traveling. This one, you get to travel to a galaxy far, far away, and you all saw that coming. And what you're doing, you have two sides. You have the rebels, the rebel scum, and you also have the empire. And you're dueling. It's a back and forth game. But what this does is it has the different factions that you can play. You can take them into your deck, or if it's a rival faction, your opponent, you can actually blow them up out of the row that you're buying from. So if I see Darth Vader there and I'm the rebels, and if I generate enough combat, boom, Vader's out of there. My opponent can no longer get him. Of course, it's going to take a ton, and it never happens. But you can theoretically make that happen. But here's the cool thing, Chris. As you play, you're building up your deck, and then you start to see those combos happen, just like Hero Realms, just like Star Realms, but super thematic. You've got the ships that'll protect you. Then, I mean, my favorite combos are the ones with the characters. So if you just happen to have Han Solo and Chewbacca working together, and then you get the Millennium Falcon in your deck, oh my gosh, yeah, game over. You're just going to destroy the
Right.
Empire. And vice versa. If you have Darth Vader, and his ship, and you got the big Death Stars and whatnot. Oh, it's so thematic, and just like Star Wars and Hero Realms, it's quick. Now it's not quite as fast, but you still have that really cool feeling of, hey, I'm ramping up my deck super fast here, and then I can start doing the cool stuff. It's not a slow burn like Dominion. No, you get to the action part right away. And being a Star Wars geek, it's all I ever wanted in a deck builder, having all the different characters and whatnot. And now I should say this is only, I think it's the original trilogy with, I think, Rogue One. So of course they built in the thing of, hey, there's
Right.
probably going to be expansions, and
Oh, for
I'm going to be
sure.
getting all of them, because I love Star Wars. But the system works well, and the one thing I do want to point out that's really unique to this deck builder, you have the Force. Now the Force is something that's going to help you generate additional actions on your cards, but the Force is it's a tug of war. So whenever you play a card that has the Force on it, you're going to bring the Force towards your side. Vice versa, the opponent can bring the Force to their side. If you get it all the way to your side, you're going to get additional resources. But whenever it's on your side, if a trigger says, if you have the Force, get this, this, and that. And I love that. The cards have this ability to, get more powerful depending on if you have the Force on your side or not. I think it's a really clever design. If you've played Star Realms or Hero Realms, you'll see a lot of similarities, but there's really some cool, unique things to the game as well. And that's why it's our number 5, Star Wars, the deck building game.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds cool. That
Yeah.
that does sound cool. Very seems very Hero Realms how you describe it. I thought it was
It
going
is.
to be. I thought it was more of a standard deck builder, but that I didn't realize it was that head to head.
Yeah.
For the Rebels and the Imperials, then you have separate markets for each.
No, you have one combined
No?
market. So you're
Oh,
sort of,
cool.
yeah, you're battling over that. And then the cool thing is too, there's also the factionless characters and ships, sort of like the bounty hunters. So you could directly hire, sort of some of these bounty hunters. Now I think Boba Fett is always going to go towards the Empire, but there are other you'll recognize some of the other bounty hunters where, okay, I can bring them to the rebels, and vice
Cool.
versa and stuff. So it's really neat, and yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. But let's see what Richard's got for number 4 coming right up.
Okay, Chris, Hive Pocket. I cannot disagree because once again, you're agreeing with Elaney, and if she says it's good, then I'll go with it. Although, yeah, I played Hive, I get it. My only complaint about that is that it's only a 2-player game, and you're kind of limiting your options to play with other people, right? Can you play Hive multiple players? Nope, it's just black and white, but still very, very clever. And speaking of Elaney, her channel, Cardboard Rhino, a few years ago, she actually played it underwater, which I thought was a very, very cool thing. We talked about it many, many years ago when I did this list originally. And Ro, what did you have? Oh, Star Wars Deck Builder, right. So more not Star Realms. Although I don't mean to downplay. I mean, I think if I were to, I would certainly play this over Star Realms. Boy, Star Realms is getting no love today, right? Every way we can avoid playing Star Realms while still playing Star Realms, we're investigating ways to do it. And once again, so both of you just want to play with one other person while you're traveling. Well, okay, that's fine. That's not the case for me because number 4 on the list certainly works with higher player count. It is Tiny Towns, which, by the way, if you can get it, bring the Villagers expansion as well, because it adds so much to this already wonderful little game. It's interesting, when I started thinking about making this list, I decided, I love polyomino tile layers, and I really wanted to put one on the list. And the more and more I was just trying to narrow it down, I just kept coming back to this because this is a polyomino game where you build your polyominoes, where every round, bingo style, or via player choice, depending on which mode you want to play in, players are putting cubes out. You're trying to get the right colors next to each other to create building spaces in this incredibly tight, compact little board. And this game is so much fun. One of my absolute all-time favorites. An incredibly tiny package. Don't bring the box. Just bring the player boards and the deck of cards and a bag full of all the cubes, and you've got an incredibly portable and incredibly fun game that you can play at any number of player counts. And man, I love this to pieces so much. And I mentioned the villagers, which is what I'm showing right here. This just brings a few more pieces where you've got these cool little villager meeples, animal meeples as well, that give you special powers if you can build where the villagers are. Elevates the game even more. But again, even though I keep talking about these expansions, I would bring Tiny Towns just in the straight box. It's so great. Again, one of my all-time faves, and yeah, just perfect for life on the road. Number 4, Tiny Towns.
I see, has it there. I was just gonna say that's a pretty big box to travel.
It's a pretty big box. It's like a standard Ticket to Ride size box. I mean, to Richard's credit, he did say don't bring the box.
Yep.
I brought Tiny Towns with me as well. I have a video where I just went through what I was packing and I agonized over it. But the best part about Tiny Towns for me, I put all the little towns in their own separate little bins right here, because
Perfect.
I just think it's better than opening the bags and dumping them out for everything. Anytime you have a common supply for something, for my mind, you put it in a bin, because then you're going to take things out slowly. Done. If you have player pieces where like everybody's going to have their own player pieces and you're likely going to use them all, then you put those in bags, because then they can be passed out. But what I figured out is that I'm going to hold it up here. I can fit an entire box of letter jam in here.
Wow.
And a little package of Dutch Blitz in here.
Yes.
In order to get more into my bag. And yeah, so that shows, even with all of this like hardware and like organization, I'm still able to fit in a couple extra games into that Tiny Towns box.
Brilliant.
And so it plays really well at 6, and it's nice to have a game that like is quick, that plays with a lot of people.
Yeah.
As we know, Richard is famous for loving games that play at a higher player count and not with 2 players, as he has specified. We know this to be true because he doesn't like our 2-player picks. And so and we know that he will never complain about anything not having a 2-player mode from here on out, because of his love for large scale games.
Exactly. I love what you did with your game. I mean, you packed all those games, and also I love the fact that you worked Dutch Blitz into yet another episode of the R&R&R Show.
It made it.
Well done,
hey, if Richard didn't say it, I'll put it back. It was behind me. It was behind me. I just pulled it off the shelf behind me.
Nice.
Yeah, if Richard hadn't brought it up, it wouldn't have been coming out. But I wanted to show my little storage solution. Well, not storage solution, just the amount of stuff that you could pack in, right, when traveling.
That's
which
great.
is always good to consider.
Fantastic. Love it. Yeah, so I love Tiny Towns, and folks, you can also solo it. If you're a solo board gamer, it has a really easy to implement solo mode using basically a deck of cards. But yeah, Tiny Towns a winner. But let's move on. We're getting close to the number 1 game. What you got for us, Chris?
Well, my last contribution to this list is a game that I didn't bring with me. And I'm agonized actually that I haven't brought it with me, and it kind of solidified that it should be the number 1 and that I should just auto bring it no matter what, because it's so good. I've talked about this game a few times on this channel. It's in a very compact box, around almost the same size as Letter Jam, the box. But you get it's a game where there is so much game packed into this box. It is so good. This is the Red Cathedral.
Nice. And you know what? Yeah. Right before, I just got a message from our friend Andrew. He told me to show this on screen. What is this all about, Chris?
That seems like that's a little sweet little grasshopper who's jumping around. It seems like it's Gisbert Grasshopper. Not quite sure. I don't know if that's I think it might be the mascot on the Red Cathedral box. I'm fairly certain.
Gotcha.
Handsome though. I'm
Yeah,
sure
very
that
handsome grasshopper.
will grow up to love board games even more than that grasshopper loves right now.
I can't
I'm
believe
very
he asked me to
confident
show
in
that.
that.
So,
He's been threatening me that it was
yes.
going to be up one of these days.
But anyways, back to the Red Cathedral.
Yeah.
Yes, fantastic game. Oh,
It's so good.
yeah.
It's so good. You can see you just have that small player board and your single player boards. It plays fairly compactly too. Like you can't play it on an airplane tray table, which ideally that's like a video that I want to think about making or whatever. Like in terms of travel, I'm trying to think about those like space constraints, but I don't care because it is just such a good solid game. You can do three things on your turn. You either claim a section of the cathedral, which is over on the right side of the screen. You can move a dice, the number of pips on the dice, and take resources wherever it lands. If it lands on a space with more dice, you get more of that resource. Or you can put those resources up on the space in the cathedral that you've claimed. That's it. Now you know how to play the game. It also comes in like such a small box that you can't fit the expansion in. It had an expansion come out recently, also a really solid expansion, but I love the base just as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was a way to fit both into the box because then I would play with the expansion all the time, but there isn't. But I just think for size of box versus quality of game, it doesn't get any better than the Red Cathedral. It's so fun. I'm so happy that I've gotten to play it and that I have it in my collection. And I just this is also one game where the reason why I didn't bring it on this contract that I'm on is because I brought it to the last contract that I was on, and I decided to try out different games with different people. But the last contract, I played with people who like barely played board games at all, and they instantly were like, "Yeah, I want to go out and buy this game." I played it with my parents, and they understood it immediately and had like a blast. They're
Nice.
a great litmus test for me. It's surprising that it can be a game of such like depth and tight decisions, and yet also is really accessible. It's just fantastic. They're having a competition in the outer ring of the World Series of Board Gaming where you can win a trip to Essen through it.
Nice.
DeVere like sponsored that whole thing, and like it's one where like I wish I could play in that. It's just so good. I can't talk about this game enough, and we're running out of time. But like if you haven't played this game, check out reviews, check it out. It's such a great 80-minute game, and to top it off, it says 80 minutes on the box, and it's usually consistently 80 minutes. Like there's none of this 60 to 90 minutes. They're like, we know our game's 80 minutes.
Yep.
We know exactly how it plays. It's just like a home run, really. It should be with me. I'm devastated that past Chris was like, no, try different things on different people. No, past Chris, you idiot. You want to try the same things. And I legitimately am disappointed that I didn't bring it because it also is so small that I have zero reason to not have brought it with me.
Yeah, you were absolutely right. Red Cathedral, fantastic. And, I love that they have placed this really, deep strategic game in a small box. Like they could have easily put this in like a Ticket to Ride Science box, right?
100% they could.
But they decided not to, and I love that. And something about DeVere they've done that with other games too. Like Bamboo just came out again, another game that's around the same size box, but it could have easily expanded. I want to see more publishers do this, Chris. I want to see us bringing these down. Quit wasting 100%. Space. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you have to do it for the shelf space for like marketing. You get more visibility on the shelf, right? That's why you see so many games do it. But like I think we should praise the publishers that don't, and that just give you such a compact, wonderful experience in like a well thought out, awesome tiny box.
Agreed.
Efficiency of space.
Yeah, and as we're talking about this, I just realized it says number 4 in Red Cathedral. No, that was our number 3, folks.
That was our number 3.
Yeah. See what happens when I try. I agree to do a prank on Chris. So Andrew, I'm looking at you. Let's move on.
Well, no, okay. Number 4 was Red Cathedral. Number 3 was Gisbert Grasshopper.
There you go. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Chris. Well done. Let's move our number 2. And now that the silliness is set aside, number 2, I'm going to continue with, hey, this game is all about traveling. It's also a great travel game. And I'm going to bring us back around to, we already talked about it, folks. It's Number 2, Tiny Epic Galaxies. This is
Oh, nice.
you were talking about it, Chris. This was definitely going on my list. Just like Dutch Blitz, this is a game that I've talked about several times on the channel. I mean, I just think it's brilliant. It is, in my opinion, the best Tiny Epic game out there. It's a dice placement, or not dice placement, it's a dice chucking game, but you're using it to, gather your resources and trying to convert those to get the planets into your galaxy. The big part of this game, which I think is absolutely brilliant, I love it, is the follow mechanism. So anytime it's someone else's turn, if you have the right resource, in this case culture, it's either culture or economic, I think, or energy. If you have culture, you can spend a culture to follow someone's action and get the same, benefits. And I love that because you're always engaged. It's not like, hey, I roll dice and someone just watches me. No, you roll dice and people are going to say, hey, I want to follow that move, or I don't want to follow that yet. And it's a lot of back and forth. It's a great solo game as well. And it's now, we were talking about Tiny Epic Quest earlier, and I brought this up for a reason. Tiny Epic Quest is a huge footprint for a Tiny Epic game. This one is not. As you can see, you just got a couple of cards here.
Yeah.
I have my dice tray, but you don't need a dice tray, and it just has the small cards and the little player mats as well. Now I do have custom player mats that a friend of mine 3D printed for me, but the game is outstanding. It plays in about 20 to 30 minutes. It's a race to, I think, 20 victory points, and then you can have secret missions as well that you score and get extra points. But boy, it is fantastic. Now, there is an expansion for this game, and this is where I was thinking about Tiny Epic Quest. When you have the expansion, it's a great expansion, but boy, it totally takes up the entire table. So as much as I like the expansion, if I'm going to travel with a game, it's going to be the base game for Tiny Epic Galaxies, and that's why it's my number 2 on the list, Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Nice, good pick. You've really fooled me. I didn't see this coming.
You didn't see it?
I thought no. You did a very good job of being
Nice.
like, yeah, oh yeah, Tiny Epic Galaxies. I suppose, yeah. Some people do like that, don't they?
I can do a little acting too, Chris. So
you got it. You got the role. You got the part.
Let's see what's on top of our list. Take it away, Richard.
Excellent choice, Chris. Red Cathedral is fantastic and continues DeVere's streak of cramming big game experiences into tiny boxes. I absolutely love it. Although I will put a proviso. I don't think I'd want to travel with Red Cathedral without the Contractors expansion, or not the whole expansion. I don't need all the extra board and whatnot, but just those extra guilds. That's the only thing Red Cathedral needed, was a little bit more variety with the guild powers every time you play. So it's just a few more cards to throw in the box, and yes, I would happily play with you, Chris, if we were traveling together. An excellent choice. And well, Tiny Epic Galaxies, you better believe it. We're Tiny Epic brothers, I guess. We can play some cooperative defenders from earlier on my list, and then go at it toe to toe. I guess yeah, for me, Tiny Epic Galaxies is the second best of the Tiny Epic series. I prefer Defenders because I'd rather work with you than against you, and Tiny Epic Galaxies can have some player screwage, but it's not too bad, and it's absolutely brilliant. But both of those games are eclipsed, as far as I'm concerned, by number 1 on the list, Jump Drive, which is basically Race for the Galaxy, the Express game. Although, honestly, Race for the Galaxy makes for a great travel game too, but there is so much packed into this game that just plays over 5 or 6 rounds. It's a quick 15-minute filler, and yet it is so satisfying doing all this the stuff you would expect from Race for the Galaxy, building up your intergalactic civilization, depending on the cards you play, taking it in radically different directions, and again, imagine a full game of Race for the Galaxy with all that really wonderful, satisfying leveling up and all that to get it done in 15 or 20 minutes, and then play again. And play again. We have never played this game, and Jen hasn't said, set it up, we're going again right now. It is so fun and so compelling and so much variety. It just plays out uniquely every time. And what the heck, let's once again talk about an expansion. The brand new Terminal Velocity expansion that just came out, that Jen I just played for the first time the other day. Oh my gosh, elevates this game. It took it out of my top like 150 games and put it in my top 50, I think. The Terminal Velocity expansion, which I think is available now, adds unique player powers because you get a starting planet, adds public goals, allows it to go up to 5-player game now, which makes it even better for travel games if you're with a group of, I guess this is going to be more of a gamer geek game because, again, there is so much going on, even in such a short time frame that you've got to make tough decisions. I love it to pieces. One of my all-time faves. A lot of game in a tiny, tiny box. It's basically just a deck of cards and some tokens to keep track of score. It is number one on the list, Jump Drive. And folks, check out the Terminal Velocity expansion when you get a chance. It's amazing.
I don't know if y'all noticed. Did you see it said number 4, Tiny Towns on there?
Yeah.
We didn't plan this, folks. Richard had filmed this and sent it over. Apparently, this little prank we pulled just hose us all. But anyways, great choice for number 1. Now, I don't have Jump Drive, but I actually have The City. And The City was the original one, and then Tom Lehman, the designer, redid it for Jump Drive, which is a re-implementation of Race for the Galaxy. Cool. I have The City because Michelle prefers that theme of building the city, and it's the same thing. It's super quick. You are, discarding cards to build certain things. Plays in 15-20 minutes. I absolutely love this game in both versions, Jump Drive and The City. Have you been able to play this one, Chris?
No, but I'm a big fan of Race for the Galaxy, Race for the Galaxy would be a really good contender. I think. Yeah. I think that was a smart call. Oh, and just a quick note on the Red Cathedral. Yeah, with the expansion, you do get a bunch of other guild cards that you can just really easily implement. That's the one that I do have it in my Red Cathedral box.
Nice.
And then I have all the other contractor stuff on the outside too. It's just nice. If you have those variable cards that let you do things, super easy to implement.
Always good.
Yeah, Race for the Galaxy, great. Jump Drive sounds cool. Those are travel games. That's all.
Yeah. Great list. Again, thank you, Chris, for joining us today, and thanks to Richard for joining us via the power of a video. And whoops, and we're gonna. Hey, I'm showing you all the stuff, folks. Look, we've got this thing again. We're gonna go on that note. Thank you to Gisbert Grasshopper. But again, thanks to our sponsor. Wow, we're gonna have to edit this part out.
There we go.
It's all going haywire. Start right now. Want to thank our sponsor, Upper Story, the publishers of Spintronics, for sponsoring this issue. Wow, I'm going to start again. All right. Want to thank Upper Story, these publishers of Spintronics, for sponsoring this episode of the R&R&R Show. Be sure to click the show notes below for more information. And until next time, we'll see you later. And we are back. Wow, I just totally hosed that ending, but we're here.
That's okay. We're here.
Yeah.
We can... We're pretty much at time, but I think we should do an honorable mention speed round.
Absolutely.
Does Richard have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I've got honorable mentions. So Watergate, the 2-player political game. Splendor Duel,
Nice.
the 2-player version of Splendor. Targi, great worker placement game. Sprawlopolis, just missed the cut, Chris.
I thought Sprawlopolis might be on your list.
Yeah. And then finally, I had to have a Knizia, but it didn't make the list. Lost Cities, the card game. What about yours? Speed list, honorable mention.
Yeah, speed list. Well, I closed it, but I remember them. I was thinking Hanabi was a close one.
Yep.
I was thinking, what else did I bring? One Night Werewolf. Broken and Beautiful. Just a small little card game that just finished on Kickstarter that I got my hands on that I've been enjoying.
Nice.
Offhand, I have Mind Bug as well, which does not have to be this big. It's like the Richard Garfield one, I think.
I've not heard of this game. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally just like deck of cards.
Nice.
But you draw you deal out 10, and you can use a Mind Bug to take the opponent's card of what they play, and that's what I really like about it. Is that like even if you've got good cards in your hand, there's a way to reverse it. So you don't want to play those good cards first because your opponent might Mind Bug them, and then you might just lose the game. So pretty quick.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, those are the things I was thinking of. Splendor too, because you can just take that out of its box and just have it like deck of cards, poker chips, done.
Yep.
I almost brought Splendor as well, but again, it was a hit on a previous contract. So if they're hits, I want to make sure nobody enjoys them. And somebody else has one here as well too, which is
nice.
Good. So,
awesome. Yeah. I Splendor was my first choice as well, but Michelle and I we ended up loving Splendor Duel a little more.
Yeah.
And but we have them both.
I still have to play it.
Yeah.
I still really love Splendor.
So do I. It's so good. Okay, so that's we are a little bit over, folks. Thank you for hanging out with us. We're gonna raid. We're gonna take the party on over to someone else. Trying to
Yeah.
find who is playing board games right now on Twitch. Let me see.
Who the heck is playing some fun little games?
Yeah.
That's what we want to know.
Oh, we've got Mandatory Quest. They're terrific. They are playing some Gloomhaven. They've got some stuff going on there.
Nice.
So let's go over to their Mandatory Quest. Let me pull them up. And as I do this, Chris, any final thoughts before we get out of here, my friend?
Nope, that's it. Go travel the world, but don't abandon your board games. They'll be sad. Give them a
Yes.
little hug and a kiss and bring some along with you as well.
A hug and a kiss, folks. That's what we're gonna go out on. You know, I'm still laughing about the whole, Richard wanting to lie with you.
Well,
Chris.
it's going on my resume now.
Let's get
And
ready
by
to
the
rate,
way,
folks.
Richard Ham wants to lie with me. So
On that note, we're a header. We'll see you next time, folks. Take care. So long. Bye bye. Oh my gosh. Are we rating? We have.
seems like we rated.
We rated. Okay, I am stopping